On today's episode of Let's Talk FGO, welcome to the Goop Zone. You guys can't see how I'm sitting in here, but man, a lot of stuff to do. A lot of things. There's new servants. We got the pre-release for Traum coming out. Hey, by the way, that means Traum is soon. And lots of other things going on. I'm one of your hosts. I am Omega, and I am... You can't see it, but I'm very relaxified in this chair. With me, as always, the boneless one, Lucky.
That's me.
No
I don't have any bones. You can't prove it. Listen, I've told people so many times, I have never broken a bone, I have never sprained a bone, therefore I can't have any bones. They do not exist. I'm all cartilage and flab. But, besides that, I hope everyone's enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka, we're about to have a bad time, probably.
Yeah, I'll save my joke for that one for later.
And while we here at CMake like to bring you the latest and FGO-related news and memes, we'll be talking about current and future events with the JP and Ian version of the games. Anyone that wants spoilers should be careful of dying too many times. Yeah.
And I got to use my alliteration just now. But yes, it's an episode of Let's Talk FGO. Yes, we are a day late. I will not immediately respond with, and $1 short. I feel like I use that expression too much. But I have to let you know I was thinking it. Suffice it to say, Friday just wasn't a good day, okay?
It really wasn't.
Lucky wasn't feeling it, and I was the first to suggest pushing it because if Lucky was not feeling it, I wasn't going to fight it. I've been very tired the last couple of days because it's been very hot and it's hard to sleep, and also, I have had to bust my balls a little bit to get some stuff done, and it has been a little stressful. I don't know how many of you noticed because not too many of you tuned in right away when I posted it, but the first iteration of Wanted Constantine had no audio for some ungodly reason. I'm reasonably certain that I had all my video, my picture files lined up, and I had my audio sequenced correctly, but it just didn't go through. I was able to fix it and re-export relatively quickly, but it was a, slightly stressful 20 minutes or so while it was cooking. So yeah, no, a little bit of rushing, a little bit of scuffing, but we're here. We're going to do the show. We're going to try and get it out to you in a speedy fashion, and everything will be fun. The show is brought to you by our lovely patrons, which include, but are not limited to, Adam Hart, Blackest OG, Call Me Zed, Carlos, Dragonflight, Is I Spirit, Jeremy Vasquez, JDV 9000, Justify, Australia, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Regent Raptor, Rise of Kenji, Rogarman, Charvor, Sean Pyre, some guy named Bob Benver, and The Crow. Thank you very much for your support, as always, all of our lovely patrons. If you like what we do, want to see us more, consider supporting us on Patreon. It's a relatively new month. We'll get some stuff for you. Another thing I prepared for yesterday was also why I was at, what did I think I said to Lucky I'm brain crunched. My brain is crunched, I think was how I phrased it. We will have Fanservant Friday today, even though it was a Saturday. I will still call it Fanservant Friday. You can't prove anything. I wrote it on a Friday. Everything is fine here.
How are you?
Well, today, as of we're recording this, it is May the 4th, so we can make Star Wars references. Plus,
I didn't even realize that.
Solo quotes. Yeah, no, it's May the 4th. I feel like that day has unfortunately gone through peaks and valleys of exciting. But, it's out there. Get some funnies. But yes, thank you, patrons. Thank you, all of our listeners. And we will continue on with our regularly scheduled programming. First, let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai. Mash.
Senpai, 起きてください.
Because it is time for Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, our regular segment for Pro Tips. So, I have two for you real quick today. Number one, May items. Your May login items are fantasy scales, pages, and stakes. Though I also need a great deal of scales as well. But, yeah. Stakes are also there. Also, I, wrote this in all caps. Traum is close, watch out! It's not as urgent as I thought it was when I first wrote this note, because in the process of writing some of these show notes, the FGO Twitter was nice enough to clarify that there is a stream, night of the 12th, day of the 13th or something. So we still got a little while. Our next show we recorded the 10th, so expect the Traum pregame then. Thank God I didn't have to also write that this week. But it's still, a weekish out, so better be ready to catch up on the story if you haven't already. And yes, this does mean that I do need to set about to the monumentous task of creating a best-of compilation. I won't call it a highlight because it's probably going to be 6 hours long or more of our Lost Belt 6 discussion. 8 hours? I don't know. Audio's going to be big.
Big.
But moving on from that point, and I'm sure you all will be very eager to hear, rolling for Charlie and so on and so forth. We do have Records to the Throne, our regular achievement topic. Good news, everyone! It's me this week. I would like to inform you that monthly tickets are pretty goated, and I now have NB3 Daikoku 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was very surprised. Two of those were like back to back, and I think one of them was just with one CE. But I was like, monthly tickets, we got a thing. We'll see what happens. I got like 3 gold cards, so yeah, we're here. Smile protected. It's pretty cracked.
Well, and unfortunately, Lucky has nothing in that category, but he does have something in the other one. So let's pivot our attention on over to Not All the World's Evil, but Damn Close, where it's me, ya boy. It's Lucky, and I just want to say, so everyone knows, I broke my login streak on the day of the tickets!
Sorry if you can hear me chuckling in the background. That was, obviously I know what Lucky wrote ahead of time, so that was killer dramatic irony there. That was written in all caps, chat.
I abhor consecutive login campaigns. This event is going on for 3 weeks. Why do we need, 10 days? It's like a 10-day login campaign?
Yeah. Or more even. I don't actually. When does the pre-release end?
Well, no, like I'm saying, the actual campaign probably lasts more than 10 days.
Oh, in case the pre-release lasts a heckin' long time.
Like, why do we have to have consecutive logins to get the best thing? It's like, maybe, people can't log in every day. Maybe people miss things. Maybe people forget. Why are you punishing me for not being the fucking best there is? Stop that. Lucky is not the best. Lucky is a fragile little creature with low self-esteem. Stop bullying him!
Oh yes, right. The login was a 20 million downloads, so it's been a little while on. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's just the 7-day sequence is just, it is the way it's been, so that's how it is. Obviously, they have introduced total login periods as well, but those are, usually smaller blocks of rewards. It is kind of interesting. I wonder if there's room for escalation. I believe JP is building up for 30 million downloads soon, so I don't know if they'll actually do even more stuff. In general, the 7-day daily logins have kind of capped out around 10. So
it's the reason, I was doing pretty good because people have been in our Discord, putting ads, making sure in here. But here's the thing: those ads usually come up in an hour before reset. Sorry, I had to think of a word there, and I don't know why. I can't explain it. I don't know why. Lucky's in a swirling vortex of switching between depression, anxiety, and a fugue state because my life is fucked up right now and I can't handle it. I really can't. Today is the first time I took a shower in 2 weeks, so that's the kind of life I'm living right now. But for some odd fucking reason, for Wednesday, Thursday, those 2 days in particular, I passed out at 8 p.m. I usually log in, I use my FGO time is usually 8 p.m. to 10. That's usually when I'm playing. That's where I lay in bed for a while, tap on my phone, or maybe I'll set up Fade Grand Automata and let that go in the background. That's usually my FGO slice time. I pass out at 8 p.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. and my first thought isn't, oh shit, I didn't do FGO. My first thought is, why the fuck did I wake up at 4 a.m. and go about that day? And then of course, I probably would have caught it. I probably would have caught it if, I hadn't. But guess what? I fell asleep again at 8 p.m. It's why? Why? I just want tickets for Summer Ibuki. I need a moment. I'm gonna go get me a donut. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get me 2 donuts. Fuck everything. It's 2 donut time.
Here's another one, chat. You can take that out. Well, while Lucky has stepped away, I can very briefly cover. Did you finish your master missions? Which, depending on when exactly the edit goes out, may technically be out of date. Not sure, but I want to let you know, I was ready for this. This was prepared. You need to perform 30 FP summons, defeat 3 evil servants, put a lancer in your party 5 times, get 15 antique reels. I'll just phrase it like that. Get 50 of each, drop for the event. So do the event. It's not really that complex, other than the 30 FP summons, which I feel like is the second or third one in a row this has been. I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, but obviously with the new bronze in the FP Gacha Limited, I feel like that came up before. But yeah, no, it was fucking real easy. Do the event. He has 2 donuts. I'm sorry, that was a very soft block. But that means it's time to move on to skelograms. Do not think my sigh has anything to do with the news, chat. It's mostly my spine and my attempts to realign it while I'm in this chair. Ooh, big neck creak. Okay. Let me readjust my microphone for a slightly different seated position. But yes, skelograms. Honestly, the news, not that complex, but still fairly impressive. First of all, we do indeed have even more Kimono Hot Springs killer banners. Because, Lucky talked about this last week, well, there'd probably be some sort of Space Ishtar banner or some other stuff. There was. Alice wasn't even banner 2. Like 2 days after we did the show, they snuck in Space Ishtar and Jane as banner 2.
I'm pretty sure we were predicting that, just not that fast.
Yeah, no, like you said, you called out that there would probably be a Space Ishtar and Jane run, but we thought maybe, like a banner 3. No. That was banner 2. Caster Alice is actually banner 3, and now we have Summon Campaign number 5, which includes several rate-ups. One banner is Void Shiki and Fujino, one is just Muramasa, one is Kashin Koji and Zenjuo. So, unfortunately, I do think this probably means that for now, the TOUKO dream is dead, unless there is a surprise 6th summon campaign after, 2 weeks, which I am not confident in, because it feels like we're past new units. When you're doing 3 SSR rate-ups at a time, I think we're past the new stuff. We're past...
I haven't heard anyone I haven't seen TOUKO trending on Twitter anywhere, so I'm assuming that she hasn't showed up in the story anywhere.
Yes.
And if she hasn't shown up in the story, then... Because I'm pretty sure the story's done. Is it done?
It should have been enough for, the first week, so that probably you can access the finale, if I understand how time gates usually work.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. That's not to say that I don't think there have been some very interesting things going on in the story. Several people have straight up said that it's basically like Mahoyo 2. It's effectively a sequel in miniature with some other Natsuverse tie-in elements. So we're 2 for 2 on very story intense collabs, it seems, with Samurai Remnant as well. But yeah, we're in a very interesting place. I want to say, I know she was on the bonus list, but the Koji placement is also kind of interesting. I can't imagine that we don't have some kind of thematic puppet connection, but it does make me wonder if maybe, like I alluded might be possible, Nasu might be completely foregoing actually showing TOUKO in this narrative to, have her stand on her own somewhere?
I don't know. I do know that in fucking Aoko's fucking profile, though, her fucking item creation and territory creation are E, and they both reference her sister.
Yeah, she's shit at it.
So,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think it's just her item creation references her sister. Anything she needed, just get from her sister. So
yeah, no, it's
they're not ignoring TOUKO exactly. Like I said, we got a nice CE. She's repping Naoko's thing. Actually, I wonder if her dislikes is her sister. I'm curious.
Yeah, I have to check her dialogue. I don't know if it was translated yet. Yeah, that to me says that obviously, FGO in general has a backlog of 9 bajillion characters who are already existent to get to. But I would not be surprised if that does mean that we're saving a TOUKO for a later event. Either something more directly related or just an anniversary. Hey, God forbid, we do have a allegedly that 30 million downloads campaign coming before anniversary. It's been a while since they did it that way, but, in the past, millions of downloads campaigns came with brand new SSRs. Usually these days we use it for rate-ups of characters who have not gotten them in a while, but you never know.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Aoko's likes. I like her likes. I like loyal dogs. They're cool and reliable. Her hates. I hate loyal dogs. They're bold and strong. And actually, doing a quick look, I think the only one that's, really calling out TOUKO here is, I haven't read them all, but, she has a line for Ryogo Shiki here. It's she says, our weirdo hobbyist must have caused you some trouble. So I don't know, this might not be, the spy's sister, Aoko.
Yeah.
Just, petty needling Aoko.
Yeah, that definitely feels like Aoko just feels the need to throw TOUKO under the bus, even though, honestly, I don't... Out of the two of them, I think Shiki is the more problematic one in that story. Lurking around, not doing anything, feeling a constant desire to kill people.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, TOUKO in that time was running a contractor company, the Garan no Do.
Yes.
So she was actually just being, a salary woman doing jobs and stuff.
She was a small businesswoman that unfortunately mostly just had, she and Miki had, lounging in her front office. Yeah, also it's been many years in New Agrafan, Sag. But yes, so that's our JP news for now. They're ticking away, but still got a while on the tail end of the event. But also, hey, we will have new servant deets for Alice and the welfare as well at the end bit here. We'll keep on keeping on. But NA news, we've gotten Realm of the Thanatos Impulse Traum, Life and Death of an Illusion pre-release campaign Part 1, starting the 1st of May, and technically the pre-release goes until the 13th of June next month. So very long on this run. We have limited time master missions. These give you some mana prisms and rare prisms, some saplings, some gold apples, and a lore. All of them require you to progress the story up through LB6, so if you're caught up on story, you should get all these right away. If not, you can catch them up by doing some story. We're doing our favorite little interlude unlock feature. Some Traum-related servants are unlocking their interludes, even if you don't have them. We've got Bradamante, Vlad 3, Sherlock, Saber Deermud, Siegfried, Astolfo, Kiyohime, and Salome in this list. That actually makes me a little excited, because I was not expecting to see or hear from some of these characters. Siegfried and the Paladins, I think we know for sure, and we can also presume Sherlock's involvement with that special secret second banner in this block, but it'd be interesting to see Vlad again in story, and obviously Salome hasn't showed up in story at all yet, and it's also been a while since Kiyohime was relevant, so... Well, hey, guess what? That's the whole point of the interlude unlock, so you can go do their interludes without having them.
Yay.
We also have Constantinos the 11th. Constantine 11. Trial Quest and Banner. The full spice up. Also, Leyline Stones are back! Actually, before the thing again. Thank God. You get 3 years for logging in, there's 13 more in the Mana Prism shop. Your first 3 are cheap, the next 10 are a little more expensive, but I have bought all 13 of them. I don't recall people saying Traum is particularly tough gameplay-wise, but just in general, with Leyline Stones being a limited-time asset, I have never been averse to holding onto them just in case for big story drops. So, good to see. And of course, if you aren't caught up on story and stuff, we have quarter AP through 5.5, half AP on LB6, and on your first clear of LB6 free quests, so making sure you have plenty of time to catch up on story and also catch up on your free quests for St. Quartz's. And the Traum is said to be dropping in mid-May, which, based on the fact that we are going to have a full Chaldea broadcasting station, including guest appearances by some voice actors and by Kano-san, is, the whole shebang. That's going to be the 13th, so that's probably when Traum is dropping. It's late the 12th. So you do got a little bit of time. I know a lot of people were afeared because the social media campaign actually ends the 12th, and our last couple have been so sped up that they were, ending a week after the event started. So they were like, wait, what does that mean? No, we're actually going to have, God forbid, probably 2 or 3 days off, where there will be no main event going. Just, quarter and half AP, so you can actually catch up, probably. But yeah, that's the news. It took me a little bit, talked about it earlier, but the Constantine Wanted is out there. You can check it out if you want. I do unfortunately kind of agree with some sentiments that were expressed in the comments there of, he's a really interesting guy historically and seems like a pretty fun character to check out, but unfortunately because of all of the heavy-duty banners going on right now and end up coming, I feel like he's not as popular or well-liked in the rolling space. Because he's much like Super Bunyan, he's one of those guys who is had very scanty rate-ups for a while. Though I strongly suspect that knowing how JP is, running things, I literally expect a Constantine banner any day now out of them, just because of how they have been doing banners. But yeah, he's got some pretty scarce rate-ups. So I threw the 10 tickets I got for the end of the campaign at him, and nothing worth writing home about.
You can't see it. I just took emotional damage.
Yeah. But hey, I got my tickets and I spent them immediately and didn't get anything out of them. Life is fickle. But like seriously, the Wanted turned out to be like 27 minutes. Like 17 minutes of that runtime is just real life history, and there are several spots where I'm like, I am literally compressing for time. So, like, very interesting guy and very, very busy history, as you might expect from the last Byzantine emperor. But it is kind of a shame that I feel like, because of the nature of our prognostication, the FGO fandom probably is not going to bite as hard on him because we got other shit to worry about. Yeah, people are like, is it a Summer Scotty? No. Is it Siegfried's wife?
Is it Charlie? Oh,
I don't actually know if people are excited for young Moriarty. I don't remember what the fuck he does in, like, mechanics, but, he's very hot. It's like the fucking SpongeBob meme. Oh no, he's hot. Thank you, Robin. Robin typing in all caps in patron chat. I support men's wrongs. Hey, while you can't get access to the recording channel unless you are a higher supporting patron, you can access the patron chat in our Discord at any level, as little as $1 a month, and can see these jokes in real time.
Excuse me.
It's one of those days.
It is one of those days.
We don't want to wake up. Sorry, my particular kind of brain poison. I can't avoid a music reference if I know it. But yes, that is our news. Like I said, Traum pregame will be next week, in time for the grace period. Like I said, look forward to a hopefully more timely Charlemagne Wanted, and also I will be editing the best of Let's Talk FGO for Lost Belt 6. I'm sighing because, well, I'm sure that is a very interesting time that people really enjoy. Boy, we talked about it a lot. There was a lot to talk about. And that's the end of our news.
So, with that, it is time for this week's Let's Talk FGO Mailbag. I do a lot of sound effects just on my own, I realize.
It's part of the vibe.
I guess it is part of the vibe. Anyway, pulling it up, looking at it, we have 888 lovely comments, and we'll get through them all. Thank you very much. We will get started right meow.
Meow.
Meow. So, our first one comes from Monster Girl Aficionado, saying, Dear Lucky Omega, no question this week, just saying good vibes and wishing you well. Keep up the great work. Your shows are some of the highlights of my week. Wah, 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 wah. Well, thank you very much for that. I need those good vibes right now. I need those well wishes. Lucky is not doing so great right now, but I'm trucking. As I like to say, either I'll make it or I'll die.
That's all we can hope for.
Yeah. So, thank you very much. We move on to the next one. This one comes from that one person that exists? Question mark? That's 3 question marks, baby. This is some high tier confusion. But they say, Dear Lucky Omega, I have no question because I Dear Lucky Omega, I have no question because I simply want to wish you good vibes and shout out to the world that I finally have Caster Artoria. Let's go! Congratulations to you, my dude. If I had an air horn right now, I would play it for you, but unfortunately the best I can give you is a yeah.
Solid quack.
Actually, wait, there is an air horn button here. What does this do? We do have an air horn button.
God, it's so funny to see the sound wave on that. There's literal hard stops as you like click the button again, and it completely stops to play again.
I think I like ducks better, though. But the air horn's so iconic, son of a bitch. Why you do this to me?
This is a natural tale. All that's staying in, by the way. I'm not editing the sound effects out. They're staying in. You're getting them. Luckily, they're not that loud. Thank goodness. Anyway, thank you for your vibes.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your Castoria.
So, this next one comes from someone's writing Sony's West name in a black list. Oh, someone's coming up here. Dear Lucky Omega, I'm postponing asking about your thoughts on Sony's recent contingent involvement with Stellar Blade and Tsukihime. Read more. I want to instead say I'm grateful for your work on the podcast and one events over the years and the dedication you put into the videos. Thank you both. Take time for yourselves if you need it, and if you need some time, give yourselves affirmation, and I will continue to support your work. That was a crit to my heart. How can you say such things? How dare you give me such positive feedback in my life? Ugh. You're gonna make me cry. No one wants to cry in Lucky. That sounds horrible. But I am gonna call you out though. If you didn't want to like talk about the Sony thing, you shouldn't have wrote about it. You want me to talk about it. You do. You do. And I am not afraid to talk about this because I do have thoughts. Honestly, you wrote this a day ago, but at this point you should also probably put Helldivers 2 in that list.
It's been a time.
Yeah, Sony has pulled a hat trick of questionable decisions. And we can talk about that later.
Yeah, because I do actually I don't know how much time, especially with your sleeping schedule being absolutely unhinged, but you've had Stellar Blade for a while and did get your particular issues ironed out.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I've been playing it. I haven't beat it yet, but I've been playing it. I like it. But no, I
will save what I have like actually heard once you separate the wheat from the chaff, which is just the fact that I also have my own individual thoughts and feelings on generally some of the vibes we're getting from Sony, but also like as usual, because I see a lot of this through the filter of like Reddit and Twitter, there is an unfortunate veneer of just the ick about all of these discussions, the goop, the quagmire.
Hey guys, in case you didn't know, Stellar Blade has like I don't know if it still does, but it had like the highest user rating of all PS5 games at like 9.1. Just saying.
Nice. Good for them. Good for them. The game is good. Shocking, I know. You'd never believe that the game is still good despite what people are saying about things. Anyway,
Tonikaku. We shall move on. The next one comes from Gahulian God, who says, hope you feel better this weekend. I do. I took a shower. I do not my hair comes down to my back because, oh my god, my hair is fluffing right now. It's turning into a mane. I forgot about that. Like I said, Lucky has an undercut, and I usually keep my hair down to, small the back, right? No, not small the back, like between the shoulder blades. That's how long it glows. Washing my hair was a nightmare. There was a lot of gunk in there. But I got it out. I am fresh, clean. I wouldn't say pure right now, because boy howdy. But still, progress. But this person goes on to say, as for our question, this is likely one I brought up before, the yearly summer event. What incoming summer theme activity would you like to see utilized? I still want to see a genuine Caldea summer road trip. I mean, that's a good one. Ever since we had the U.S. road trip, that's definitely a thing. But I still want to do what I think I was talking about before. Just like, actually, you know what I think I want? I want a cruise ship. I want a cruise, kind of like a road trip, but only
another good one.
Yeah, kind of like a road trip, but it's like on a cruise ship. Be an NFF cruise ship and NFF tours. Get your Summer Koei and Skya in there.
And not everyone, but because they're on the water, I do know that a decent number of cruise ships also do have casinos on board, which does seem to be a thing that Koyan enjoys.
Oh yeah, making you bet with things. Yeah, no, I can see it. Like after I know it's not Summer 6, but I just want to call it Summer 6 because it has the fairy nights in it. What summer is that?
Actually, the summer, the seventh summer, I think? Because we're coming up on the 8th year of FGO, so it can't be the 8th summer event yet. Or was it our 8th summer?
I don't know what is time. It's just slipping into the future. Anyway.
Summer number 1, because it's the best one.
It probably is going to be the best one. Probably. But, yeah, I think, having a cruise ship resort would be pretty interesting. There can be weird things in the holds, go to like neat little landmarks and have to fight shit. Koei and Skya totally has something on the down low, but we can't figure it out until the last minute. That'd be great. I did remember seeing someone on the recent app media. People are doing their summer server predictions, and shocking no one, Summer Rushall is at the top of the list. I think Summer Koyan was number 4. I don't remember 2 or 3, unfortunately.
So Koyan is 3.
Oh, it's 3.
Number 2 is Talok.
Yeah, Talok.
Really
that's
like
what it
Talok. Arash is at the top. Number 4 is Kremhild. People also really like Kremhild. And number 5 should shock nobody. It's Passion Lip. Ever since those comments that Nasu made came out, people are like even more clamoring for Summer Lip.
No. Like I said, it might actually be the year of Summer Arash. It's like we can't keep passing this girl up.
No, and actually not even WoW, but we did get that slight feature because she does have that alternate costume for Lost Boat 7 as well.
Mm.
Like it's been in the vogue, and she was in in Water Crisis, which out of several of our ladies, Wu is going to get her swimsuit this year. That's this summer as well, and the Melt was already in her summer, so
clearly this also means Semiramis summer.
Yeah, Semiramis was one of the more prominent characters. I'm hoping for it, but I just realized that means that everybody else who I think was actually a major character, I was just gonna say he's gonna say Summer Melt too. That does mean that every other character in that grouping does have a swimsuit. Because Morgan got her summer ascension with Ash the Savior as well. So
yeah, no, I can see it.
It's time. Let's go for it.
Semiramis was definitely more in a supporting character role, but no, like if we can get a summer Semiramis and a summer Rush Call, I'd be happy.
Also, I mean, like I know I'm the guy who keeps harping on that one fucking pigeon tweet, but like they don't talk about it a lot. But Semiramis is half mermaid. Her mother is a fish goddess. She's literally part mermaid. The pigeon told me she looks good in a swimsuit. Did the pigeon lie to me? Just fucking that. Show me a meme image of me holding the pigeon, going, "You."
I mean, apparently those pigeons can be little shit. So yes, it might have lied to you.
Tell me your secrets, bird. But yeah, no, Summers as always will be interesting. They are already hyping some stuff up, so it'll be interesting to see. I have to assume that if they are hyping it up, it's probably going to be somebody on that big list because they have to know like what people want, and Koyan, Arash, some of the others as well. Big.
I feel like we have to do Crimhill because Bryn has hers.
Yes, and
I want Crimhill summer MP for her to just hit people with Siegfried.
That'd be pretty great, yeah. But what I was also going to bring up, Siegfried also already has a summer costume as well, so they can already match.
I need to see them go on a double date. I need this. I need to watch this from afar and eat popcorn.
I personally think the funny NP would be not just Kremhild and Siegfried, but also we include Sieg for no reason as their adoptive child.
Yes, no, excellent.
And
excellent.
Then she just gets, annoyed and obliterates everybody. Anyway. Good talk.
Yes, because Kremhild is damn bad for her husband. She's just very soon about it. I love it.
God, what was that? I wonder if I can find it. Probably not, because I retweet a decent collection of things. I'm not above admitting that occasionally, when there's posts I don't want to see on my main timeline, I will go on For You and retweet like 5 things, so I no longer have to look at something at the top. But I saw somebody did a little meme draw the other day. It's a little drawing of Krem, and it's like they were saying that they were reading like the first. Like the intro to the Nibelungen Light or something, and they were like, "This woman will cause many deaths," and I'm like, "That's fucking hilarious."
Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking. Is Kremhild like limited story permanent? I can't remember.
Is she story locked? Let me check, because I believe there's some extra. God, the wiki loading very slow all of a sudden.
Story lock, okay.
Yes, story locked to Traum, though I believe she'll be available, obviously, in the initial burst on the first banner. Let me scroll to the bottom of this. Yes, it was for the Traum chapter release, which will include, a split rate-up banner of Charlemagne as the only 5-star, but then you've got Roland and Krem as the 4 stars. Banner 2 is going to include Ruler Moriarty, Don Quixote, who is also story locked, and Zhang Zhu, the new 3-star caster. He is not story locked, and then he's permanent. So we are getting a new permanent 3-star with this story release as well. And then the third banner is Sherlock and Siegfried. And I believe Krem will be back later this year for the Fairy Night Cup.
I might hold on till then. That's where I was going to get Burrito Mart, but...
Yeah, let me see. Let me double check the banners. So, the Burrito Mart banner is Britt Bargist Balban.
That's a good banner.
This is also the campaign 2 is Charlemagne, Bradamante, and Roland. And then banner 3 is going to be a Wow, that's a very interesting rotation. It's a rotation between 3 raid-ups. One is Bryn Kremhild, one is Sigurd Siegfried, and the last banner is Kentucky Hercules. What a very interesting collection. But yeah, so there'll be opportunities to snipe it at everybody in those couple of banners there. And we do know that if they're sticking to the schedule, that there will be no new SSR for the rest of the year as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, that might be a good time to pick her up towards the end of the year as well.
All right.
Now, wait,
but I haven't lost our spot. We were talking about summer, and we just got in the weeds.
As we do when we talk about summers.
We do.
It's probably the most popular piece of speculation about FGO, and I will leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. So, let us move on. This next one comes from the Tyrant King, who finally finished the game after 7 years. Well, congrats. I'm kind of curious what game it was. Let me know. But they say, question, hey guys, so my question is twofold. First, with Suzuko Momori moving to US this year, do you think there's a chance she'll show up at more US cons in the future? As for my second question, which Japanese VA would you like to meet and get an autograph from? Anyway, that's it for me. Sending good vibes your way. Whoa. And hope you have a great evening. As for your first question, I think it's entirely possible. I don't necessarily know. People are yelling in our chat now.
Wow. Good for them. All caps.
Fun fact, I already got Rumi Okubo's autograph. Ha ha!
Yep.
I have done damage to Robin. Today is a good day.
Got him.
Yeah, no, Rumi Okubo signed my Fate Apocrypha wall scroll. They put a little arrow towards our stall phones like that me.
Of course she did.
So, but if it was going to be me, I would go with Chiwa Saito, voice of many characters I enjoy. The energy that Chiwa Saito puts into her characters is amazing, and I love it so much. Just the absolute manic vibe that Tamamo is. Tamamo, Tamakat, Koyon. Also, she's Shinjo Gahara from Bakemonogatari. Just, so many interesting characters. I love her. Follow that, it would probably be, one of the fan clubs in our community, Sari Hayami. Like, she, does the voice of Ushi.
Voices, yes.
Mm-hmm. She does a lot of voices, Atlanta, Ushi, Martha, Melt. I am suddenly blanking on some of her roles outside of that, but yeah, no. A lot of characters I really like. She does that. So those are probably the big two I'd go for. Any VAs on your mind, Omega?
Oh, I'm thinking. I feel like just for the cred, Ayako Kawasumi would be pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting I got an at from something. Hold on, let me mark that as red.
Hang on one second myself. I actually want to go look at my autograph because it's just been hanging on my wall.
That's a big sticker also that you posted.
Okay, it's still legible. Sick. Just making sure.
And then if we're talking about the APOC crowd, Miyukisawa Shiro, who is Mordred, among several other roles, amazing range, that woman.
It blows my mind every day that she's also Artemis.
Yes, Nightingale, Artemis, and honestly, her index with Rama's not that different than a couple of other voices.
Yeah,
but straight up cross playing, but also you can go from serious Nightingale to super emotive Mordred to though Mordred still being very tomboyish to like I said, fucking Artemis. Darling Daisuke. You can hear the fucking hearts. It's a great one. Yeah, I'm not clicking that WAV. I'll respect your ears this time, chat. Once again, Patreon chat, check it out.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. I can fucking hear it in my mind.
So, with that, let us move on. The next one comes from, still being attacked by an army of mice. They say, happy weekend, guys. No question for this week, just to send some mice vibes. I feel like I should squeak. But I don't want to. I'm going to embarrass myself.
I want to actually squeak. I'll just say squeak, squeak 'em. What is that? Sorry, that's triggering some deep memory for me. I'm like, what is that from? Is that like an animated movie or a book where somebody like speaks to mice and they verbally say, squeak squeakum, squeak squeak squeakum? Oh, that's something. Maybe somebody will get that one.
Yeah, that's Kronk from Emperor's New Groove.
Yes. Okay,
yeah, he was talking to a squirrel, I think.
Oh, it's a squirrel. Yes. Ah, yes. Squeak squeakum, squeak. Sorry, I started to do the Kronk voice and immediately I hear in my head, poison for Cusco. Poison specifically meant to kill Cusco. Cusco's poison. That poison? Yes, that poison. God, the movie's so good. So quotable. Considering it's not, like, about anything.
The text is funny, but the image is what sells this.
Yes. This muscular rat. Hey, this is a perfect time for me to plug YouTube channels that you may not know exist. Check out Grimbeard's videos. He does very long, in-depth reviews of retro video games, and he is fucking obsessed with rats. If a rat appears in an old video game, he will call it out in the Rat Roundup.
All right. Yeah, so just gonna send some mice vibes and hope you get lucky on your next event. Thank you very much! Alright. This next one comes from Soul of the Light Mode, about to go to bed, Cord, who says, Dear Lucky 11th and Omega Hild, no question, just hoping you both some good times and vibes. Wah 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 wah. You see, if you type out the wah 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 wah, I'm just gonna read it as wah 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 wah. You're not gonna get the wah 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 wah. Keep being great. No, you keep being great. I'm gonna keep being semi-okay.
Boptus and the boneless.
It's like boobless, boneless, now that guy's boneless. Ever since I watched the Barry Explains Kingdom Hearts, I just do that now.
No, it's infected. I mean, the moment you started saying it that way, I just heard in my mind, Moses, I'm doing a Moses. I know I didn't lose my shit as much as you and Loth did, but Barry has some great delivery in that.
Also, Robin also knows, so...
Yeah, Robin gets it.
Also, you weren't dying like us, but you did crack up many times.
Yeah, no. I had a more measured response than you guys did, but no, he still got me to bust a chuckle several times, which is good because it's like 40 fucking minutes of video. But yeah, he got me a couple times good.
Anyway, this last one comes from Agent 418, who says, Hello, Lucky and Omega. Have a good weekend, y'all. P.S. The One Piece Cafe is real and good. Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
Nice.
Alright, so I'm just gonna yeet that.
Very well. Fyok. God, now we're just gonna be doing that.
I thought I'd save the guff of it. Apparently I didn't.
Oh, you didn't start that? I think I started that. Let me double check if I did start it.
I did start this, though, which is,
That's a good one, yeah. Well, I don't know if my I think they're slightly out of order.
Let's Goofy swear.
I have some very good gift start, but I cannot find the ones I'm looking for. Instead, I will treat you to this. This is at the top of my list. Torchling Lizard. All right. That is our lovely mailbag. Thank you for all your positive vibes and good thoughts. While they are good for the mood, they unfortunately do not help my stiff back, so I'm going to change my seating position and we'll move swiftest on us. After becoming a boat, I'll lay a free talk. Sorry, Lucky wasn't prepared for that one. No, I have to admit, I have to be careful because my brain is so close to accidentally entangling I'm a boat now with, oh my god, you're a wall now! That's right, X. Eternal montage, continuing to do some excellent work out there. Okay, free talk. We have a couple of things. First, I'll just wrap up what I called even further beyond impressions of Collab. Lucky has not finished the event yet.
No.
And I myself say that I still need to work on the point ladder a little. But yesterday, and among many other things that I crunched, I did actually do the final couple nodes of the story. It's okay. I do think I'll talk in generalities, not to set up too much for Lucky for when he actually gets to reading it, but I do feel like the event tried to get some actual teeth in, like, the literal last section, like, actually gave you some stuff to chew on. I really wish that those themes had been the entire event and not just the 6th section. We did talk about this before, that all the previous sections were very formulaic, very much, here's a joke about a movie, it doesn't go how you expect, the actors are angry and you must fight them. Now you must make a lot of money. It ends with Bunyan putting up another statue and everything being okay. I do think that there are actually some interesting thematic undercurrents there. There's some good back and forth and stuff. A lot of good building of the relationship. A lot of the shorter but subtler scenes with the Daikoku 10 mice are actually also really good as they kind of bounce back and forth between the different bosses, letting us get a good look at all the sequences. But it's unfortunately an event that, like I said, it grows an actual plot and character arc literally at the last minute, and it needed more time to breathe on that, I think. I'm not sure whether that was Oops All Rio's style of being more joke focused before turning serious, or what. But people are like, "Oh, it's the worst event ever." No, some people expressed even maybe really negative opinions of Super Bunyan. No, Super Bunyan's fine. She's just it all makes sense. It's fine. As usual, I find a lot of people's criticisms are very exaggerated, very overblown, but that they do have some legitimate concerns. It's not a great event. It is not a terrible event. It's just okay. I do kind of agree with Robin in chat. An actual post-Grail epilogue story where somehow there's still more America things going on would have been a little better. But again, I don't know what their timing out was. Fine. It's fine. Even the digging materials is not that weird. The fact that it's 2-1-1 annoys me because it's 2-1-1 on assassins, and I'm you clearly want me to have rolled Super Bunyan, but despite throwing 20 tickets at this, I haven't, so I don't know what the fuck you want from me. You've already announced the next thing coming, guys. I have to marshal my resources. Yeah, it is a little less meaty, I think, than our typical collab, so it'll be interesting to see that. I'm fairly certain next year's collab, the arcade collab, which involves the Mother Draco and Tiamat, is going to be a lot more intense. So they'll make it up to us, I'm sure. Honestly, it's kind of weird. I feel like writing wise, it sounds like a lot of FGO's resources were really gummed up in actually producing Traum and LB7 and trying to do it in a timely manner, and it meant that some other events are a little thinner on the ground. But I feel like the current year in FGO right now, doing after that, the first couple ordeal calls into the collab events as well, been a lot heavier, been a lot thicker in the writing. Samurai Remnant's also gotten really going. It's all been a lot meatier, but we'll see as we see. So yeah, I sadly don't have really in-depth thoughts on the collab because like I said, the collab doesn't really get deep until the last possible minute, and by the time you really start to think about stuff, it's over. So look forward to us. I don't actually know. I haven't checked exactly how many sections Traum is. Obviously, it won't be as long as LB6 by any means, but it might be a little bit longer than 5.5. So look forward to a solid 4 to 5 hours on it in the future, eventually. But that means that let's talk about the other two new Mahoyo servants, because we actually have data on those guys now. Alice came out and I found an actual discussion of Shizuki Sojiro. We'll start with him, because he's been out longer, technically. He's a new welfare berserker. He's quick, arts, buster. He's got average hit counts and above average NP game. He has pretty high attack for his slot, and thus fairly lower HP. Pretty typical stuff. Honestly, in general, I think a lot of the guys have pretty good stuff. Yeah, he's literally 0.5% NP gain, and is 3-hit arts, 3-hit buster, and 4-hit quick. So very normal numbers. So his Noble Phantasm is single target buster. It raises his attack based on overcharge for 1 turn first. Starts at 10%, maxes out at 50%. So it's literally every overcharge level gives him 10%. It lets him bypass invincible for 1 turn first. Also ignores damage cut specifically first. So not inherently ignores damage cut, but adds a buff which ignores damage cut. Not ignores defense, ignores damage cut. It also deals bonus damage to enemies who have a defense up. Basically, this is kind of like Paris's attack, and also I think don't know, I forgot William Tell's name for a second. I think William Tell also has a similar move where basically if you're trying to dodge or put up some kind of buff, it's worse for you. Sojiro is the same. If you're trying to defend, you will get punched harder. And then after you've punched really hard, he dies. He has a sacrifice to merit. As usual, this cannot be prevented by other effects, but does trigger a gut state. And yes, I'd like to remind everybody that Aoko's specific skill does not work against sacrifice. Yeah, no. Muramasa has a similar ability, I think, with Invincible. So it's like Pierce, Invincibility, and Pierce damage cut, and if your opponent has a defense up, well, fuck you, I'm just going to do way more damage. And obviously this is pretty good, pretty strong, but without the added effect of Guts, he will perish. Still, very good asshole removal technique. His first skill gives him a 10 to 20% Buster and Arts up for 3 turns, and also gives him a unique new buff. You're going to see a couple of these. We've got some interesting stuff here. It is phrased on the wiki as lethal damage evasion. So I have, also called it evade death. So the way this works, it lasts 5 times 3 turns, is if an attack would cause Sojiro to drop below 0 HP, or to reach 0, it reduces it to no damage instead. He dodges. But only if it would be enough to kill him.
Interesting.
This stacks with regular evasions, and regular evasions are used up first, if they're both timed, but it does not prevent non-damaging effects that would kill. So instant kills can still be triggered, and indirect sources of damage, such as HP loss from like environmental effects or dots, also will still do damage. But if the enemy's launching an attack and it would do more than his current HP, it just misses. Whiff. So a pretty solid buff, and I like the fact that it's 5 times 3 turns, because that means that it will last just as long as using it for its damage steroid as well. So got some utility there. His second skill also has another unique effect. It multiplies his NP gauge by a value equal to the skill level. It starts at 50%, but maxes out at 100%, which does mean that literally when you activate this skill at level 10, it doubles his current NP value. On a welfare who is designed to be NP5 for free, this is very powerful. If you're curious about the math, literally this means that if you get him to 100% and activate this skill, he will go to 200, and if he is 150 or better, he will go to 300. So this is a very good way to completely max out his NP gauge to get all those juicy overcharge levels. It also increases his critical damage by 15 to 25% for 3 turns, which then adds additional stacks of critical damage up if his HP is 75, 50%, or 25% or less. So if you are below 25% HP, you are looking at a maximum of plus 100% critical damage for 3 turns. Closer you are to death, the farther you are from harm. Lots of very fun stuff here. And then his final skill is a very interesting delayed buff. So basically, when you activate it, you pick a color of card, Quick Arts or Buster. This effect is 1 turn later, after you activate this buff. It changes all of his command cards to that type, and increases their performance by 20 to 30% for that turn. So you get to pick whether you change all his command cards to Quick Arts or Buster, but you have to guess if you're going to get any cards at all, because you do it a turn ahead of time. I'm sure there is a lot of very funny techniques to use in there. Probably there's some shenanigans you can do with Summer BB to lock the hand in place, and other such mechanics. You can try shuffling from a couple different sources. Yeah, Bunny Ruler to shuffle and exclude. So, it's pretty unique. I'm not exactly sure what, the best use of it is, but you can certainly stack a lot of arts crits if you really need to, actually get that MP charge started. It lets you give him, way more quick cards than he would normally have, which may work for certain team comps. Or you could just do Buster cards to do lots of damage outside of his NP turn, since his NP, will kill him, unless you apply Guts. Which he does not have any Guts intrinsically, but there are units that give you Guts. For passives, he has Presence Concealment A, so he's always got a pretty good passive critical resistance. He has a passive skill which gives him crit resistance chance by 10%, so there's just a 10% chance that any critical attack will whiff on him. And he has a unique passive called Good Luck Charm EX, which makes him immune to Terror, Confusion, and Skill Seal. All 3, at all times. In general, a very good entry into an anti-asshole servant. He's not really loopable or anything because of his demerit. You're gonna have to, work your butt off to keep gutsing him enough to live. But there are guts on Mystic codes as well, so you're probably going to be able to clean quite a few clocks with this guy. Very robust effects. So let's also talk about Alice, a new SSR caster. She's quick arts buster. She has high hit counts and average NP gain. Maybe even on the slightly above average level. So, yeah, she's got 0.51 NP charge per attack, but she has 5 hit quick and arts cards. So, very good combination. And I will say, while I do not think that Alice is quite as over the toply designed as TOUKO, she also has plenty of new stuff under the hood. She is low attack, high HP normally, but first of all, we're continuing a trend lately, but she's a caster with a quick AoE NP. You're finally getting so many in this niche. So her NP ignores evade. It gets sure hit first, right? It increases her damage versus human enemies by 30% for 1 turn. Note that this is the human trait, not the human, the man attribute. So, only NPCs have this, not servants. But still, it's good for farming. It damages all enemies, like I said, and then it gives them terror, 1 time 3 turns, which is a 60% chance to proc. Reduces their critical chance by 20% for 3 turns, and also, based on overcharge, deals bonus damage to the man attribute. So, blasts humans, and human order. It ignores evade, and also is a pretty good terror chance. Her first skill is also pretty good here. It increases her arts and quick performance for 3 turns by 10 to 20%. It is a 30 to 50% NP battery. Already, people, I'm sure their eyes are turning into little Scotties. So you've got plenty of action there. But also, it increases the party's NP gen for 3 turns by 20 to 30%. Lots of solid looping potential, I'm sure. Alice's second skill is a pretty normal 20 to 30% attack up and defense up for 3 turns. Pretty normal buffs. But if you're on a forest, city, or darkness type battlefield, you get another 10 to 20% of attack and defense each. So taking this to 3 turns of 50% up for both of those, which is pretty good. I think, it's taken FGO a while to really get terrain buffs. We are now finally in a place where usually if they occur, they take a skill from that is designed to be alright and standard without them to a skill which is designed to be pretty good with them. 50% attack and defense up for 3 turns is pretty solid, but even then, 30% up is perfectly alright, especially for an NP attacker. Now, her final skill has some unique stuff. The short version of this, which I'm sure our Patreon chat will find very funny, Alice has 13 Robin stacks at the start of every battle. Using her final skill consumes 1 Robin counter. 1 Robin stack. 1 Robin snack, even. And I'll explain how that works. But you got 13 uses of this. When activated, it gives Alice a special buff called Substitution for 1 attack, 2 turns. Substitution is effectively anti-purge defense, and it's a form of invincibility which is not pierceable, and it is not sure-hittable, but it is immune to buff removal. You cannot buff remove her substitution. Though, obviously, you can, do buff block ahead of time. It also charges her NP gauge by 10 to 20%. Now, you might not think that's not very big, but once again, this is another skill that has a minimum 2-turn cooldown. So for up to 13 times in a battle, Alice gets 20% NP charge and just gets 1 get out of jail free card. You will block 1 attack. It's pretty spicy. Also, somebody in our comments last time was kind enough to remind us, I knew that there was another servant that did have a 2-turn. It is one of Tiamat's skills. Also goes down to 2-turn cooldown. But yeah, no. Not as crazy as some of the stuff TOUKO can do, but this is probably the greatest defensive skill in the game. A non-removable anti-purge to your defense that you can do for 1 attack every 2 turns, at least for, 13 times. Which, admittedly, if you have a battle that is lasting 26 turns, something may have gone wrong. I do not think it is common for battles to last that long in our current era of game design, especially because she is charging her NP every time you do this. But yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. definitely gives her potential not just as a, AoE farmer, but also for certain challenge quests. Also, it's funny, we mentioned earlier, Alco's like item and territory creation. So, Alice's passives, she has territory creation A and item creation A. Alice is very good at what she does. She has a unique passive called Folklore Defense B. This gives her a permanent damage cut against all forms of damage except Noble Phantasms for 400, so all normal attacks are reduced by 400. It also reduces her damage taken by ailment debuffs by 400, so dots like Poison, Burn, and Curse. So she's not outright immune to them, but she does reduce the damage of them. 400 is a little bit of an awkward number for this effect, but still very useful to get in there. And she has another unique passive, which is also very interesting. First of all, her final passive is the one that gives her Robin counters, how many times you can use the Last Robin Rondo skill. It also gives her a unique self-guts, where if she is instantly killed, she revives up to 5 times with 1000 HP only. Only on instant kill. So that's a very funny form of removal. But also, she always has a passive on Guts activates buff. Whenever Alice activates a Guts, she recovers an additional 2k HP. So specifically, up to 5 times per battle, she will automatically revive if instant killed with 3k HP. And also, just in general, if you put Guts on her, she revives with an extra 2k HP. I do not know what your best use of that knowledge is, but it exists. The instant unkillable. Lots of fun there. But yeah, no. Like I said, I don't think she's as insane as Alco, but we are not skimping with Alice. Alice is a quick caster. She's got heavy farming potential, unique mechanics to resist challenge quests, and she has a lot of broad synergy, especially because she's one of those rare cases where a servant changes alignments. Her first 2 ascensions are chaotic good. Her third ascension is chaotic evil, which means you can probably do some weird domain stacks there. Also, her third ascension is levitating. I guess you would have to levitate to walk in that dress and those shoes. Actually, no, I'm looking at her sprite for her third ascension. No, those are very highly sloped boots. So just fuck you, we fly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chen Gong is sacrifice other, so it is not an instant. It is an effect that instantly kills, but it does not apply the instant death status effect, because there are some servants who have instant death resistance. You're more looking for like specific challenge quests, or actually like dodging some of the stuff that like the Shikis do, etc. But yeah, no, it's good for challenge quests. I think actually like got a very interesting spread of things she can do. So very, very good game design. Lots of new interesting things. And that does, for now, bring us to the end of Free Talk. As I roll and stretch my shoulders.
Yeah.
Been very tense the past couple days. Lots of hard at work. I mean, it's probably a good time to do Fanservant Friday.
Woo!
Fanservant Friday is voted on by our lovely patrons. The 5 and up level, you can access a poll. There's not a new one yet, but I'll run up the new one once we did this. I usually don't like to post the poll when I'm still on the hook for the last one, but we're here. And I have done my necessary prep for what you chose, Comte de Saint-Germain, Caster. Before I get into it, I do want to preface that, much like the Count of Cagliostro, you could probably straight up write the Comte as a pretender as well. He is, I would say a historical domain character. A person called the Count of Saint-Germain, Comte de Saint-Germain, was definitely a guy. There are several letters and like writings about him. He was originally a musician and composer, but guess what? He was known to quite a lot of people who were very famous during the time. He was acquainted with Casanova, Voltaire, and Mozart. He also knew several members of a higher level society. It is believed that he was employed in the court of Louis XV as a diplomat, as a courtier. And at one point in England, he was arrested for espionage. So he's got a very long and storied career all over the place. Got a lot of stuff going on. But also, he was actually in real life actually a chemist. And many people thought of him as an alchemist as well. Like, he straight up had knowledge of chemistry. And in fact, the last thing he did before he died was preside over a new factory that was being built in areas of the Dutch Republic. They actually, like, he was working on a factory to produce new chemicals, and he died mysteriously there. Relationships to certain Amnesia games notwithstanding. So, my general personal vibes of this is I wrote this going for the idea that no, this guy sounds like he was straight up a magus. Like, he was involved with a lot of our weird and wiggly friends. In some cases, he is reported as being a mentor to the Count of Cagliostro, though obviously there's, a lot going on. But also, there's a lot about him, a lot of mysterious thoughts. There are a couple of works that are attributed to him, occult tomes, including the Triangular Book of Saint-Germain, a book which is shaped like a triangle, and contains rituals to find treasures of mystical nature and prolong your life. At some points during his career, he would joke that he was, or claim that he was over 500 years old. He seemed to be a abject liar, or, at least full of exaggerated tales. But generally, people, liked him. Voltaire said, "He is a man who does not die and knows everything." Prince Charles of the House of Hesse-Kassel, which is a Danish noble family, called the Count of Saint-Germain one of the greatest philosophers who ever lived. So, he's got some stuff going on. He used so many different aliases during his time. The Marquis de Montferrat is probably the most common one, but there's so many out there of a wide variety of aliases. Usually Comte or Count was in there, but, many things were there claimed. His most common claim was he was the son of Francis II Rákóczi, who was the Prince of Transylvania. He was a Hungarian nobleman who led a rebellion against the Habsburgs and was defeated. There is some timing that he may actually possibly be related, but it is completely unknown. The many theories about, where he could have been or what he was doing all over the place. At some point, both, during the time when he was alive and after he was dead, people, wondered if he was, the Wandering Jew. Many people tried to equate him with previous figures. The Comte is actually a very big figure in Theosophy and New Age philosophy. Theosophy obviously related to Dame Helena Blavatsky as well. Though she, I don't think, ever directly referred to him. But in Theosophy and certain New Age thinking, the Comte is thought of as, being part of the harbinger of the age of Aquarius, which is the New Age promised time when we're all going to be, super enlightened and stuff. The forthcoming astrological age, which may matter. And he's regarded as a ascended master, which means that the Theosophers and other New Age theorists believe that he, possesses supernatural powers. He is or is related to reincarnation of several famous historical periods or figures. First of all, claiming that he may have been a high priest of Atlantis. That he was the Greek writer Hesiod, and also the Greek philosopher Plato. Several saints. Also, definitely Merlin. Also could have been Christopher Columbus. Don't know why the Theosophers thought double C was that important, but New World, New Age makes sense. And also could have been Sir Francis Bacon, the philosopher and statesman. It's... So, in general, this guy was a real guy who definitely existed and had a very mysterious, backstory. He claimed many things about himself, but also was, involved with... one of the things that he would trade in was the refinement of jewels, discovery of wealthy substances, actively engaged in chemistry, literally wrote music. There are quite a lot of sonatas and violin solos associated with him. But also, literally, we have notes of what his estate was when he died, which is 82 Reichsdollars and 13 shillings cash. Various items of clothing, 14 linen shirts, 8 other groups of items, various sundries described as razors, buckles, toothbrushes, sunglasses, combs, etc. None of his gems were ever reported that he supposedly had, and when he died, no one filed his papers or correspondence with his effects or any of his personal items, including his violin. He was a violinist and also a pianist. So, probably not as rich as he thought or was. So like I said, I've written this from the perspective that this absolutely, though this is a very common trope, absolutely this guy reads like he was a, Nasuverse mage who was bumming around when we were less secretive about the whole magic thing, hanging out with guys we know, like Mozart and the rest, possibly the Count Cagliostro, etc. But if you wanted to roll this into Pretender and just be like, yeah, the Comte de Saint-Germain was just a weirdo and everybody thought he was magical, that also works. So, going with caster, alignment true neutral. It was either that or like chaotic neutral. Stat-wise, strength E, endurance E, and agility D. He was not necessarily known as being, particularly physically imposing, and casters do not get big bonuses in that area. Magic power, mana, B. Luck, A. Had a lot of stuff going for him. NP, B. For class skills, went with territory creation, B+, and item creation, B-. Just, rough areas in there. He was actually associated with, building laboratories and developing them, and there are actually ranks of, like, alchemical laboratory construction, some of the passes associated with guys like Paracelsus, Mephistopheles, etc. Same with item creation. That one I gave a minus because, there's some doubt as to, like, the effectiveness of the things he created, but he did know some things about chemistry. For personal skills, alphabetically, Ascended Master EX. Basically, this is the abilities attributed to him through New Age beliefs, believing to be a higher being who's achieved enlightenment and contacts students of philosophy to guide them. As yes, there are several New Age thinkers and theosophists who thought that they received a message from the mysterious Master G, or Master R for Raskowitz. And then believe that he's, lived many lifetimes, etc. Basically, the Comte says he's a humble adventurer, but he displays abilities such as teleportation, levitation, walking through walls, telepathy. All things, by the way, New Age thinkers have claimed the Count of Saint Germain can do. Could just be, magecraft, or it might be, innate psychic powers. Probably just, some sort of standard, like, card type bonus or NP gain bonus. Probably an evade as well. Actually, hold on a sec. I have to go grab my water. I'm getting a little parched here. I've only been going for like an hour and a half, but I'll be right back. Okay, fully back. Got some water. And actually, that does remind me, before I go on, I should say, so, kind of, like, slight spoilers for Strange Fake, but I don't think it's a big thing that matters, but the Comte does technically appear in Strange Fake in one of, Saber's various servant-related flashbacks, which is completely outside of his normal timeline. In it, though, he claims that he's just a normal guy. He's just an aristocrat and a swindler. He's not a Magus Fairy Incubus vampire or a magician or a time traveler, but obviously something's going on with him that he can be appearing in timelines where he meets Saber and claims to have met Iskander. So, he's a weird guy, and actually the manga does have an illustration of him, which is very steampunk.
Oh, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, no, it's a cool illustration. So the Saint Germain is actually a character who has been briefly alluded to in Fate, but no further details at this time. So back to skills, did give him aesthetic appreciation B. This is a skill you've seen on Mozart before, about the same rank, I figured, because this is the skill represents fascination with art and allegedly would let you like determine if you saw a noble phantasm that is somehow co-linked with art. You might be able to guess its true name. In game, it gives you an NP, damage down and some other effects. But like I said, the Comte was genuinely a artist. He wrote several pieces of music and he played violin and piano among other things. So a comparable rank here would probably be good in there. Final skill is Threefold Wisdom A. This skill I give its name from one of the works that is attributed to him, the Most Holy Trinosophia, the Threefold Wisdom, which is a medieval or later era manuscript, which is attributed to either the Count of Saint Germain or the Count of Cagliostro. Funny how that keeps linking up. But also in general, being called Threefold Wisdom, this just compact a lot of other stuff. He was an excellent conversationalist. He was a philosopher, a musician, a chemist, an alchemist, an adventurer, and was believed to have mystic knowledge. So basically similar to skills like natural genius and other skills that servants have that replicate other skills. Threefold wisdom is a skill that he can, turn into other skills so long as they're not associated with the physical body of another servant. They're not special powers. In FGO terms, probably similar to things like natural wisdom and stuff, probably like, an NP buff, some other things like that. Maybe a triple card buff. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Very broad category. And I will say, I wasn't thinking that direction until I saw that art, but I'm definitely like, oh, okay, so he definitely is he should have like a sword cane or something, a stick.
I love that he has a gas mask.
Yeah. And it fits very well with his super elaborate steampunk hat, No, it's good. It's a good design. I believe it was said somewhere, it's included in the notes, that people think that the design they used for him in the illustrations of Strange Fake is what may have been a prototype design for Alexandre Dumas, which also makes sense. So going in a very different route, but he's got the fucking scarf and everything. It's great. But for his Noble Phantasm, I mentioned it earlier, but it's the Triangular Manuscript, the Triangular Book of Saint-Germain, a B++ anti-personnel Phantasm. First of all, if you don't know, this is a manuscript that has been historically, existing, which is a credit to him. It's a literal triangle. Technically, when you open it up, the book is like diamond shaped, but it closes to be triangular as the pages are triangular. So very unique looking, very distinct. It's a book that contains mystical instructions in code, as many other mystical treatises were, that gives you instructions on how to obtain objects of power and use them in a ritual to extend one's life. So basically, this manuscript's a mystic code that coalesces all the magecraft knowledge that the Comte's supposed to have. He's supposed to be like 500 years old, so he's got a lot of stuff going on there. But, its existence would count, the Comte as mages of exceptional skill, possibly with the ability to reach the root. I'm not going to say for sure that he did do that, but the guy's fucking everywhere and won't explain anything, so. And then basically, if he's associated with a lot of these people and a lot of these secrets, he would have knowledge of numerous magecraft systems, so he would be able to replicate abilities of alchemy, gem magecraft, illusion magecraft, Kabbalah, and more. So, he can replicate lots of sorcery styles, he can analyze them. Obviously, it has, life-prolonging effects, so he can generate mana in excess to extend his time period, and then amplifies the power of other mystic codes and noble phantasms, if he was to come into possession of them. In FGO terms, I would say this is probably a non-damaging NP, as funny as it would be to have him shoot, triangle beams or red dragon beams. There's a big drawing of a dragon at the front of the triangle manuscript. What it would probably be is give the whole team a guts, give the whole team NP damage up. Probably a third such effect, maybe NP seal for all enemies, because it's, or some other kind of, effect down, because it's all about, his collated understanding of huge swaths of magecraft, the ability to understand most traditions of Western-style magecraft, and probably, if he put his mind to it, can understand Eastern or New World magecraft as well. Just a big, extensive book of knowledge. Also, it's a fucking triangle, which is honestly pretty cool. How many books do you know that are triangles? And yeah, that's the Comte. Very fun little guy. And like I said, I actually quite like the loose design they have for him. Like he brought up, he's got a gas mask. He's got goggles on his hat. This does mean, yes, he would technically have two sets of goggles, because he has the gas mask goggles and his goggles. He's got multiple belts. It's great. No, it's a good character design. Though I do believe, before we leave off this section, we do have an engraving, which is supposed to be of the Count of Saint-Germain. Just a guy. He's just chilling. Got a big coat. That's it, yeah. Pretty normal stuff. But yes, so I don't know exactly what our next round of polls will be, but we'll throw some stuff out there and see what you guys like. Support us on Patreon. Remember, the $5 tier or higher tiers gets to vote us.
Yeah.
Which does mean, let me check. Yeah, 1:30, figured. It's time for what we call the What's Up.
The What's Up.
Talking about stuff. I will yield the floor to you for now, Lucky, because I have a few things I could talk about, but not a whole lot. I've been very busy the past couple of days with writing various things.
Mm-hmm.
And, while I would not mind talking some about Rain, a lot of the stuff I've been doing involved Rain would be very in the fiddly.
We could probably put, ooh, excuse me, yawn. We could probably put some Rain at the end here.
Yeah.
To fill in some time. But if you're handing the reins to me, probably the big thing that's on my mind, it's all connected in this great old web, but, as we mentioned before, I have actually put in some time into Stellar Blade. I have not beaten it yet. I'm kind of taking my time. I'm in no rush. But I was able to get my save data transferred over, and I was able to get my pre-order bonus. So everything is working okay. It's good. And I have put, like, I'm pretty sure I'm over halfway done with the game. I'm pretty sure. And I have shared some of my thoughts in our Discord, because once in a while, you just gotta get the thoughts out. Usually I try not to share my thoughts, because, everyone likes having opinions, and everyone likes dissing other people's opinions. So the best way to avoid that is usually just not to share your opinion in the first place. But I had to get it out. But I did share my thoughts. But so at the highest level, Stellar Blade's a good game. Hell, I'll even say Stellar Blade's a great game. I do feel like this is reflected in a lot of the reviews and scores, but I also do think that recent news and certain biases has probably, what's the word I want to say, colored what people may think of the game. A lot of people, and I mean a lot, compare Stellar Blade to Nier Automata and finding it lacking. And personally, I think that's unfair to Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is not trying to be Nier Automata. It is just a game that was inspired by Nier Automata, among other things. So yeah, trying to do a
quite the same style.
Yes. So trying to do a one-to-one comparison of them is really unfair Blade, but unfortunately I feel like many people have done that.
Yeah, and I don't well, obviously they were aware of some of the Nier comparisons. They said they were inspired by games like Nier.
Oh no, they love Nier. They absolutely love Nier. Fucking Nier Automata was like the second collab they did in fucking Nikkei.
I still feel like they just said that how much they love Nier in response to everybody else looking at this game and going, oh, this is very Nier coded. And they're like, well, we do like Nier.
Yeah. But, so starting from the top, like, I guess I'll go start with, visuals. The visuals are amazing. Stellar Blade has a lot of different set pieces, and actually they have technically 4, but they have 4 types of zone. So you have the hub zone, Xeon, which is basically a post-apocalyptic city, that you're based out of. It's very bleak and kind of barren, but as the game goes on, it slowly starts getting filled with more and more people. Reasons why, I'll leave that. It has a very cybertech slum kind of feel to it. There's a lot of buildings. There's broken signs everywhere, lights are sparking and stuff. It's a vibe of, this is a kind of a bleak place. People are not living their best life here, but they're trudging on. And that's usually your hub where you have your shops and, where you can pick up more quests and stuff. So it's, kind of the everyday hub everywhere. The second kind of area is what I like to call, dungeons. There's 2, I've discovered 2 so far. It's called, was it 807? It was 807 and I think what was the second one? Metro 11? I don't know. But they're basically areas where you're usually going with a specific goal, and there's a lot of fun environmental design here. 807 is a city in the rain. It has a lot of stone sculptures in it, combined with sci-fi architecture. But a lot of it is crumbling in ruin. So we're post cyberpunk. We're in the cyberpunk apocalypse here, which is an interesting vibe when you think about it. A lot of times when you think about, the apocalypse, people usually just do the apocalypse from modern day. They don't do the apocalypse from the future.
Yes. So, or if they do, it's Fallout's very big right now, but Fallout is a weird retro future where technology is very advanced, but also deliberately different.
No, so they embunk a lot of designs there. The Metro 11 is actually an almost entirely underground system with an underground rail, subways, sewers, and all that stuff in between. And each one of them is very unique and does not feel very same. Like IDO 7, it's a city, so you have streets, you have alleys, you have buildings you can go into. But you go to Metro 11. I know it's not Metro 11. I'm just gonna call it that for the sake of it. There's a lot of tight spaces, low ceilings. You know, like going through rail cars and stuff. You know, very evocative. And then moving on, there's the third type. There's the third type of area, which are open world segments. Here, you basically get to run around open plains, explore, find secrets, all that kind of stuff, and it even gives you a map. It's actually interesting when you go into the dungeon areas like IDO 7 and Metro 11. You don't get a map. You're not allowed a map. You just kind of like you have to use your scanner. You have to use your scanner and follow waypoints constantly. But when you get to the open areas, you have two so far. You have the Great Desert and the Wastelands. Very, very brown, very bleak, but very open, and because you have such impressive draw distance, you can just look out into the distance and just be like, oh, and go exploring.
I do remember, I think, some conversations from a few people about, like, while generally positive, people have some common threads of small quality of life stuff. One of them is mini mapping in certain areas.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see it. There is no mini map. If you set if you have a mission, you can set it as your objective, and when you hit the scanner, the radial compass will show up and it'll point you in which direction you have to go. But no, there is no mini-map. I have not had a huge problem with this, I will say, but I can understand why it would probably irritate some people.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those weird, like, in general, it makes me wonder, like, have I always taken mini-maps for granted? Because, like, several high-profile games that I liked, don't have mini. Like I talked about this with Final Fantasy 16, for instance. I'm like, why has God not given me a mini map? It's not like a huge problem, but it's definitely there are some tight spaces where I'm like, whoops, wait, I went the wrong fucking way, and it makes me wonder, like, is a mini map harder than I thought it was to game design? But so you have a variety of environments and areas. That's good. They look very pretty.
And then there's the fourth area, which is the area I'm in right now, which is like. It's basically a horror movie. It's a horror game set. Because I actually find this really fucking interesting. So I have to walk back here a second here. The game is it's kind of a hack and slash, and you have range, and you have a scanner and stuff, right? When there are a couple areas in the game that when you enter them, you have no map, your scanner is disabled, and you can't use your sword. So all you have is your gun. And basically, you're basically put into old laboratories, and you have to fight basically like almost like you have to fight like mutant experience and zombies. It's kind of a genre shift, but not at the same time. And it's really interesting. Like you have to there's like fucking Resident Evil like fucking style traps in there. Like, I remember the one I came into, I tripped the security system. Fucking lasers came around all the rooms. I had to kill all the enemies to get out. I'm just like, why is this here? I love it, but this seems so fucking, like, it's like, oh god, how do I, what do I call it? It's like, it's a Resident Evil puzzle, where the puzzle makes absolutely no goddamn sounds. Why am I in the middle of a police station, I have to go find 3 parts of a statue to get out? This makes no sense. It's that kind of level design.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's
you don't actually have to go find you don't actually have to do that.
Yeah, it's not literal, but it feels like an homage to that kind of thing.
It's an homage, like I said, because you have your gun. You don't have a lot of resources to help you. Thankfully, the enemies normally using a gun outside is actually a bad idea. While it's good for long distance stuff, usually you want to hit them and get their weakness exposed, because then when their weakness is exposed, shooting them with a gun is called, but normally you just want to beat them with your sword. In these fourth areas, these Resident Evil corridors, the enemies are specifically tuned so you can take them out easily with said gun. So it's an interesting balance in their design, and I do like it. It's just they are a little creepy. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, it's more like Dead Space.
Yeah, I think I definitely remember some. What you call it?
Like I had to think about this. Like no, it's like Dead Space, not Resident Evil.
Yeah,
but
I do definitely feel like there were some spots in, not like heavily featured, obviously, but there were some spots in trailers and promo materials that did look a little Dead Spacey environed, like with that kind of like tight industrial spaces and lighting.
Yeah. So like they've made a variety. They have made a variety of levels and modes within said level. Like when you're out in the open world, you do a lot of running around and you do a little bit of platforming, but it's usually you're platforming to find an objective. While in the dungeon areas, you're usually doing a lot of platforming as you are using the powers to jump gaps, climb up things and stuff. While in the Dead Space zones, you're not doing much platforming in general. You're usually looking at notes, you're, dodging traps, you're fighting the Gribblies, so they've taken a lot of different aesthetics and put them into one game. And I think that I think that's neat because I think that's kind of how things should be. You shouldn't be like one vibe the entire time. Because things are not the same vibe at all times. Like, you can't have well, I don't want to get too much into that, honestly, because I'm gonna flub my words. But they have a lot of different vibes, and they merge well togetger.
Well, and I mean, so I want to say this. Like, I'm actually thinking back. While Nier Automata has some very distinctive set pieces, that game did mostly directly conform to post-apocalyptic Earth vibes. There's a ruined city with some grass. There's a desert full of some shit. There are some ruined oil rigs. I'm not actually sure exactly what all the fucking infinite catwalks and tanks are supposed to be. And of course, there is the fucking carnival, place with the amusement park where you're just like, okay, cool, great. But obviously, Nier has been around for a while and it has limitations. I'm fairly certain this is why. When asked about it, Yoko Taro was like, "Oh, this game is better. You should play it." Because obviously, with the power of PS5, they have a lot more varied environments to get into.
Mm-hmm. So visually, environmentally, like visuals, environmentals, top percent. I love them. Character designs also fucking great. I'm sure everyone knows Eve and her proportions, but Lily design is great, Adam's design is great, the Royal Guard's design is great, Sue and Enya's design are great. All the characters you see have great designs. Even if you go start looking at like the NPCs that walk around Zion as you unlock more areas, a lot of them, like, they're not all like super unique, but you like start noticing things. They all have like different levels of like cyberization on them. They have like different faces. The Sentinels, who are the gods of Zion, a lot of them have different designs. They're not all one note. One of my, I can't remember his goddamn name now. But there's a guy you meet fairly early on who looks like he would be, he'd be a mid boss in Cyberpunk 2077. He's a big, large dude. He's like missing half his face that's been replaced with a cybernetic thing. He has like big, like huge arms with like cybernetic attachments. He's a fucking hairstylist.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, and like he's just a sad man who misses his daughter and wants to cut your hair because it makes him feel better. It's like, oh god, no, it's great. There is a boss I cannot spoil. But there is a boss that has one of the hardest fucking character designs I have ever seen in my goddamn life. And it is some shit. Like, I wish... Actually, let me, hang on. Let me see if I can find... Yeah, because Robin wants to be,
I'll probably hold off on looking, because I am... Eventually, when my backlog is cleared, as we like to say. Hey, spoilers chat, I'm like fucking 50 hours into Unicode Overlord, and I'm not like necessarily super advanced because I keep pausing to grind out more renown because I'm like, yes, I have enough levels to defeat all these maps, but man, it'd be really nice if I had that 5th slot in all my units.
Alright, hang on, let me... I have found a link. I am going to spoil it, though.
Yeah, there you go. You don't have to clickify.
Yeah. Just the legs, the sword, the cloak. No, I can't. I literally can't describe this.
No, yeah, he was going to show the image. That's what he was looking for. So here.
And Robin, they have a phase 2 where they get more shit. But no, like the character design is so good in this game. It's so good. Flows like perfectly into visuals. Like I said, I don't have to talk anything really about Eve. Everyone knows. I could talk about a little bit of the Sony censorship, but honestly, it's just bleh. Like I don't know. Like, so for me, I am against censorship. Just in general, I am against censorship. I don't like it. I want products delivered to me as their creators originally intended, and do not want outside influence from publishers who basically are concerned about things. Like that is my official stance. But also I am not that flummoxed if they just about, you know, a few more pieces of clothing put over certain parts. There are so many sexy outfits in this game. It really does not matter.
Well, one of the ones that, I would ask you, because you also played the demo extensively. Do you actually think the gore is censored?
Yeah, no, I totally think the gore is censored.
Okay, so they did change it up. All right.
Yes, they changed the gore, and they changed, like, this was definitely, like, Shift Up has gone to say this was initial design. I do not believe it. Because, like, one of the ones is on the lace, the hoodie with the lace on it, that has a zipper. The lace is covering a zipper part. You don't do that. You don't do that in clothes. And the design, and the preview design also does not have the lace in it. So no, I do not think that was the original intent, and they were supposed to censor it. But, like I said, the costumes, there's plenty of fucking costumes. There's a costume that, like, boy, we're talking about Lance. Have you seen Eve run in fucking, like, apple bottom jeans? That's some good shit. That is some good shit.
Sounds fun.
Fucking, she wears, mini skirts, and you can just see her ass cheeks jiggling as she, you know, some panties are digging into her ass. No, this game's still pretty fucking lewd. So, no, that they censor just a couple fucking outfits doesn't bug me. I am more upset about the blood and gore being missed, because, you know, that's a vibe. You know?
Yeah, that does make me curious if, like, you know, I don't like to assume too much, but given that they talk about they intended to keep to their original vision, it makes me wonder perhaps if, like, there was actually, like, some plans to maybe produce in specific locales a version of the game that was stepped down in some areas, because as much as we, you know, claim to live in a time of globalization, it is true that games that are sexified are more acceptable in Japan for certain markets, whereas in certain Japanese and European markets, gore is a lot more heavily handled. Vice versa, in America, we are usually much more harsh on anything getting close to nudity or sexual content versus blood and guts and stuff. So, I don't know if, like, the publisher was planning maybe some region differences and then accidentally dug in a hole when they were like, oh shit, we've claimed that the game will be the same in every region. Well, we may have shopped some stuff around to some rating boards that might not be true then? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like to speculate, because this is one of those things we may never know the truth. It's a weird feel. I am glad that in your opinion it doesn't actually impact the game as such.
No, it really doesn't.
There are some people out there who are acting like Sony killed their dog by doing some of these edits. I do want to say, this is what I alluded to earlier. Like, I think that there are legitimate points. Like, I agree with Lucky that, like, yeah, I wish Sony didn't feel the need to interfere and just let the media stand on its own. You know, if it's controversial, let it be controversial, you know. But also, like, I know that there are practicalities with rating boards, but, like, people get so incensed about stuff and so exaggerated, and it's tiring.
It really is. Like, it's a thing.
I'm getting older, but it wears me out, I should say.
It wears me out, yeah. So, like I said, character design is great. No notes. The characters are cool. The Natiba? Like, I thought they were supposed to be called natives originally. Like, you know, I think it was supposed to be like natives with like a capital V, but they called them the Natiba now. I don't know. I feel like that was a weird localization choice, because I think natives would have worked a lot better, because I think I'm understanding what this game is finally putting down. And it's a little wild and definitely explains, like, guys, you should be moving away from the Nier comparisons. So I guess I'll talk about the story. A lot of people are saying the story is not good, and I think these people are just flat out wrong. I think people are just misunderstanding what the story is about and are too stuck up their asses on, comparing it to Nier. Again, I do not, like, I'm not actually gonna spoil, what it is, but it is a question about being human and but also about, like, such topics as, faith and belief and stuff.
Yeah, I would have, I always wondered how intentional the religious allegory was because, like I said, the main character is named Eve. There's an Adam. The city is called, Zion.
Yeah, no. There is definitely a religious aspect in this game, and they do, like, brush against topics as, fighting for what you believe in, what is right, what is wrong. Like, and on a more underlying current, talking about, like, what humanity is.
Yeah.
And stuff, all while, like, slowly uncovering this conspiracy that may have been, like, happening, within your thing. So, within I don't know, several factions.
I'm gonna be honest. Admittedly, it's been a while, and I only ever did one major ending of Nier. I talked about this. I don't like playing as 9S. That's what you want to talk about. Authorial intent and like game friction. Yoko Taro being like, "Well, I'm gonna make you play my game again, but I'm gonna make it more annoying." Is just like, "Well, Yoko Taro, you lost me." I guess you proved me wrong. I'm not that intensely caring. But I definitely feel like, first of all, the plot of the actual Nier Automata was not necessarily about that. There are some robots who yell about become as gods. I don't think they know what that means. They're just kind of saying stuff. And now that I'm thinking about it, like, I'm not actually sure what the plot of Nier Automata is. The things I remember of that game are much more about, like, character vibes-based questions.
Well, ultimately, Nier Automata is about overcoming despair and finding your own place. Ultimately.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, like, I haven't gone through all the endings, but I think that's what I feel like with the characters, right? Is like it's a lot about the characters' journeys to deal with this conflict and this sense of, like, what are we doing? What the fuck does it mean to say for the glory of mankind? And, like, adjust to these things on a personal level.
Like, I don't know if I can nail down Stellar Blade's vibes in such a succinct way, but, like, again, it's a questions of, like, what is humanity, or what is it to be human, and what it is to have, like, belief and faith in something. Like,
so it's a lot more broad, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I will say this: the storytelling in Stellar Blade is a little bit more subtle than you think, because they do a thing where they, like, while the characters do talk to each other and stuff, actual characters talking to each other is actually very brief, and you actually find a lot of, like, lore snippets. You'll find a newspaper there, you'll see a poster there, you'll read an email, you'll find a terminal with some notes on it. So you like, as you explore the world, you start finding out, like, things that have happened and people asking questions and stuff, and you start putting that together. And Eve is not the most emotive about these, and I think this is why a lot of people think her characterization kind of sucks. But at the same time, I want to tell them, like, no, that's the point. She is kind of a fucking weapon delivered from space and has no idea what the fuck she's doing on this planet. Of course, she's not going to have a lot of great input on things. And her going through this and, learning these things and, coming to decision is part of the journey. Like, Eve as a character is interesting because, actually, I think a lot of people think she doesn't have a lot of characterization. I think she does. She has a lot of points. She's actually very bad at talking to strangers. She shies away and stutters a lot when talking with them. She doesn't like swimming. She finds collecting the cans neat because they're colorful and they have little packets of information she can read about them. So she wants to collect them. So it's like, no, she, like, honestly, just those 3 points, I feel she has a lot more characterization than a lot of protagonists out there. Honestly, like, the Adam and Lily, they're supporting cast, so I feel like they're not as expanded upon. But if you spend time with them, you realize Adam, is a big brother type. He likes looking out for other people, but he always tries to make a joke about like tense situation, but he's kind of a coward at the same time. Lily, I don't necessarily got a big vibe on. She's a mechanical genius and a bit of a history nerd, and she likes bickering with Adam in this kind of this big brother little sister vibe, which I do enjoy seeing. But, she hasn't gone particularly deep. But no, there's definitely depth to these characters, just not in your face and screaming about it. Like, I'm starting to wonder if people do not get subtle intricacies at all, and it's like things have to be yelled or thrown into their face for them to be understood.
It's certainly possible, and I do think that we are more aware of as a species and as a community that some people are just not good at subtle cues. Like I think there's a lot to be said for subtle and understated storytelling. Some people are not good at that, at like picking up on that, and I don't know if that is like just our greater understanding of autism spectrum, or just we acknowledge that like, hey, we realize now, hey, some people are just not good at those cues. Like there are some people who are face blind, and I want to say I do not actually believe quote unquote face blindness is related to autism spectrum, because I don't think it is. It's just one of those things where like people don't pick up on stuff. And, also in general, lots of gamers socially maladjusted. They've missed the part where they were supposed to play lots of LAN parties with friends and develop rapport. Sorry, that just made me think of that flush of memes from like a week ago of, you wouldn't survive a week in the asylum where they raised me, which I saw, several funny, memes related to various video games, including several good Final Fantasy 14 memes. I'm pretty sure Bosdrew was in there at one point. But yeah, I feel like that kind of aligns with what generally I've seen. People are the people I know who are talking about this game, who, like I said, are mostly artists, who like, stuck with the game for its artistic merit, and also because, I don't know if it's because of the Stellar Blade hype or what, but like I mentioned before, I know a shitload of like Twitter artists who got really into Nikke, like, immediately before Stellar Blade dropped. I don't know if that was, if those are correlated or just coincidence. But,
oh no, it's totally correlated. People are looking into what ShiftUp has done. They're finding Nikke and giving it a try. And they're like, oh no, this game is good. It is just not an ass and tits game. I mean, it is an ass and tits games, but it's more.
Yeah, so like the general vibe I've picked up from people is that gameplay is king, which I've always said that while obviously, story-heavy video games exist, if the gameplay is good and is grokkable, I don't necessarily want to say accessible because that feels like opening another can of worms in the internet quagmire, but if people can wrap their hands and their brains, possibly their metaphorical hands, around gameplay, and the gameplay is good, the game is good no matter what. Like, that's just why we play video games. If it plays good, people will come to it. The audience will show up, which you've even mentioned. I don't know if that was on mic or not, but it being one of the highest rated PS5 games.
Yes.
PS5 users.
For PS5 users, yes. On Metacritic stores, I think it's like, I can't remember, but it's like between like 80 and 85. So it's still green.
Yeah.
But, it's not pushing into the low 90s.
If I remember rightly, unless some more have appeared since then, those reviews are all like green or yellow. There are no like red, or were no red reviews of Stellar Blade. So nobody thought of it like really poorly at the time anyway. Yeah. So yeah, like generally vibes, gameplay good. A lot of people like the aesthetics. A lot of people I've heard singing the praises of the extraneous character designs.
Yes.
It sounds
Jesus,
to me...
that's a 9.3 on the user score now. Jesus.
Yeah. And this is despite all of the controversy. But I want to say that like some people have critiqued certain of Eve's looks. I personally think with the number of costumes it is I think people just have different tastes, and there's probably an Eve look that you like, you just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, like, I'm, like, believe it or not, I'm constantly switching through costumes, because I keep unlocking more. Right now, I'm running around in a teddy bear costume, because that's hilarious.
That's great, yeah. But, the story appears to be the weakest point for most people. Some people, I think, agree with you that the story's a little too reserved, I think is the way to put it.
No, like, I will agree. Like, if I take everything as a whole, I will say the story is probably the weakest point. The story is good, But like I said, it's subtle, and sometimes the pacing ain't good. Well, I'm sorry, please finish your thought.
No, that was basically the gist, where, like I said, people seem to think that the story is the weakest element, and I don't know whether that is more because of pacing or, like I said, because some people are saying that some parts of it are kind of, like, understated. It may be that they are not necessarily picking up what the game is putting down, or it might just be that, like, it's the kind of thing where, like, you play the game for, like, 10 hours, you put it down to, like, go to work for a week or whatever, you come back, and you're like, oh yeah, what was going on again, kind of a thing? You know,
No.
like, it's not sticking with people in the same way.
No, but like I said, the story is good, but like I said, it is kind of subtle and understated, so you have to be kind of paying attention. And I think this is the more egregious thing. The pacing is kind of weird. Like the badass boss I was talking about literally comes out of nowhere, and it seems like it's supposed to be this big climactic moment, but it falls completely flat because, again, it comes out of nowhere and had no preamble. The reveal, all that stuff is just kind of like, you were like going through one dungeon, you beat the boss, you're like, cool, let's get out of here. Oh no, there's a second signal. Oh no, it's the second boss. Angst, melancholy. I'm just like, really? Here? Now? There was no setup? And so, like, the pacing is super fucking weird in places. And again, combine this with the fact that you can have open world segments where you just run around for like 6 hours doing shit. Like, sometimes you don't necessarily, because that's me. Like, hello, yes, everyone, I am Lucky. I play Final Fantasy 14. I am the person who does a quest in every single goddamn quest in the area before I move on. I've seen a lot of people just do, like, the main quest or the important quest and just move, say, I'll do the regular quest later. I call them cowards. Like, I do everything before I leave. I get all my currents, I get all my quests done, and then I move on to the next area. The world's in fucking danger? Guess what? So is my attention span. No,
Robin. It's me. Though admittedly, I do have I don't know if it will be soon. I do actually have a plan for like maximizing my time, because I do want to unlock some classes that start at, like, some jobs that start at level 1, and I'm like, that'll be a perfect time to do what I want to do and clean up all those question marks. Because I keep meaning to do it, but God, there's so much Final Fantasy 14.
There is so much Final Fantasy.
Honestly,
14.
it was probably easier for you because you started the game earlier than I did.
Oh, that's true, probably.
God, there's so much stuff.
But so if you get in a vibe of just running around and, doing side quests and stuff, you might, lose the story for a bit because you're just having a gay old time running around getting sniped by guard turrets as you try to get close. That's a side quest, by the way. You have to basically destroy a guard turret, but it can literally see you from like a mile away and snipes the shit out of you. So you have to like dash for fucking cover constantly, or use the dodge ability to dodge its shots at the last second to get close. Ugh! It took me a few tries.
Mm-hmm. But
speaking of dodging, though, I will say combat, a fucking blast. I love it. Like I said, it's much of your hack and basically, you hit square to light attack, triangle to heavy attack. You can do combinations of square and triangles to do stuff. You have your dodge and your guard. If you hit them at the right times, you do a parry or a perfect dodge. But the thing I think I like most about this is if you do a perfect parry or dodge, you can usually follow that with an attack and then upgrade that attack into a special attack, and it looks sick as fuck. It's like, yeah, get in there. You have 2 energy gauges. You have beta energy, which lets you do like some simple moves. Then you have burst energy that lets you do super moves, and they all look sick.
All right, pretty solid. So yeah, so good on that. I know that some people, talking about like just general vibes I've gotten. Some people say the gameplay started a little stiff, but once you get into it, it really opens up. Which I think
I think that's just the learning curve.
It's true. Some games are simpler to approach than others, but generally, I think most people agree that when you get in there, good gameplay.
Good gameplay.
In general, I would say the opinion I have gotten from the internet is that considering this is Shift Up's first crack at a console game, like a full-priced, full-sized console game that is somewhere in the double to triple A space, it is a very good first attempt, and something that I don't hear people expressing a lot, people are very interested in the idea of a sequel game.
Oh, yeah.
They're interested in a follow-up where we could maybe refine this formula even further, tighten it up.
Sequels are usually where the games hit their peak.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, more so now, but a lot of people don't remember that Automata is technically the second game in the series.
Oh god, it's even more than that.
Well, it's true, yeah, because
Drakengard.
Yoko Taro cutting his teeth on Drakengard stuff too. But it's one of those things where, like, out of games named Nier, Automata's not even the first Nier game.
No.
But yeah, so like, that is one of those moments that, like, that's a pretty rare form of excitement for people to be like, oh, yeah, it was pretty all right. I'd love to see a sequel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've also heard some people express an opinion that would also probably be very interesting in today's game space of a expanded, you know, double or triple A like Nikkei sequel or side game. Like obviously there's a lot of direction that other games are going. Like you know, Arknights is getting their you know 3D spin-off game, Ghost Friendly Exilium, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what their projects are, because like we said, while there was a hullabaloo, and there are still, I think, questions for the consumer to Sony and ShiftUp from this, generally, the game is good, the reviews are good, the sales numbers seem to be good, things are going well for Stellar Blade.
Yes. So, Stellar Blade is a goo. Like I said, I hope many people give it a chance and enjoy it. Eventually, there will probably... the director has already said there will be a Stellar Blade collab in Nikkei. So, you know, save for Eve. She's probably going to be a pretty good unit. Oh, I wonder if Tachi's going to be the second one. We'll see. But, from there, speaking of Sony has been a little weird in the past couple weeks, talking about, you know, censoring Stellar Blade. That was, you know, strike 1. Strike 2, we really didn't mention this, but the Tsukihime Twitter did actually put out a tweet talking about how the English version of, not the English version, but the PlayStation version of the Tsukihime remake, for the special edition art book, would be modified, and that the Nintendo Switch would not be modified. So, cue this, me and I think several other people immediately canceling our PlayStation order and switching over to Nintendo Switch. Because, again, I don't like censorship, just in general. Show it to me. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I will say, this one is just weird to me.
Why are you modifying an art book? Why? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, and also, so, here's the weird thing. The Tsukihime remake is published through Aniplex, right?
Yeah.
Which is owned by Sony, but it's even run through them on Nintendo Switch. I don't know what the game plan is here. I mean, if you want to, like, you know, talk about what's going on, the image that is probably modified involves a definitely probably naked Seal. Seal is 16 in the story. I can see why Western publishers would be sensitive about that. I don't understand why they would only be sensitive on the PlayStation. I know Sony does sometimes make these kind of decisions that we have, you know, not necessarily railed against, but, you know, questioned, objected to, etc. before. But you control the publishing of this game on Nintendo Switch as well. Is this like a secret big brain plan to, like, let the Nintendo Switch catch a bullet? It won't work. Everybody loves the Switch. I don't, it's just one of those ones that I'm just confused. I don't understand what our design is.
No, but like I said, I've already switched to the Nintendo Switch version. Like, I'll live with that. Like I said, once I get done with Stellar Blade, I am probably going to play Maho. I'm starting to feel that itch.
Fair enough. We'll get in there.
Get in there. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe I'll play it and play it again. I can play games multiple times. I can live that life. But, the third strike probably got Sony done here is actually much more wild.
And still ongoing.
Still ongoing is that everyone's, you know, new favorite party game, Helldivers 2, has now been updated so that you require a PlayStation account to play. You must link it.
Well, I don't even think actually that has gone into effect.
It will go into effect.
The way this started was the official Helldivers Twitter, and there was an alert on Steam, reminded everybody that eventually you would need a PlayStation Network linked account in order to play the game. I think that, like, new purchases, that was supposed to go in effect, like, early next week, and then, at least I've heard, if you already were playing the game, the grace period was going to extend until June. And there have been questions, like obviously I play on PS5, so I never noticed this. I'd have to have a PSN be logged in to play it all. But some people did talk about, and I don't know for sure, I'd love to see, like some caps to some of this stuff, that even like briefly when the game is still firing up, it may have required this. But Helldivers did have a very tempestuous launch. One of the things that was problematic was also cross-play, so I don't know like if they had it on or turned it off or what. They did actually like have notes on Steam, and it was mentioned in some points that their intent was to activate some things. Though obviously on PlayStation's own network, this is a thing that has come up that you can view with the Wayback Machine, that Sony at least originally wrote it that PC games would not require PSN, and now they're like, some might require PSN. In general, I want to say, while obviously that's more alarming to the prospective audience, especially given that, like I said, I believe there are some legitimate grievances here, and we want to talk about like how it's working out and what seems to be happening with it. But I did see a non-number of people who seemed to be perfectly capable of still playing Helldivers, but were inordinately incensed that they would have to create a PlayStation Network account because, quote-unquote, at least one person on Twitter, I'm playing on a PC, not a PlayStation, damn it.
So I'm of two minds of this. So first off, it really should not infuriate anyone that they have to sign up for a third party launcher.
Yeah,
okay,
it sucks, but it's everybody.
It sucks. Like fucking Ubisoft does this. Fucking Rockstar does this. 2K, their Shift Up does this.
Capcom
God,
does it.
you got fucking. This is like, guys. Do you remember how Steam started off? You didn't used to be able to buy games on Steam. It was just a thing to host shit. Steam, like things like Epic Game Store, Steam, they're all like this. So signing up for something that you have to link your account to, that's not a problem, honestly. That should not be a problem. No one should be offended by that.
It's annoying, but we've lost that war already.
Yeah. But no, Legendary brings this up. The issue is the second step, that not everyone can get a PlayStation Network account.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Like to compare, we're bringing Sea of Thieves to PlayStation. To play it, you need a Microsoft account. Nobody bat an eye at this because Microsoft accounts are available in, I think it was like 170 out of 180 recognized countries on Earth. Microsoft, very accessible. PSN is on a very much more narrow slice of countries. Obviously, some of these countries make sense. Hey, guess what? China, North Korea, your internets are weirdly walled. Of course, Sony doesn't let you normally create an account in those regions. Though I do believe that if you are in China, you can go through Hong Kong. That's like a sub-region. Same with like Russia, though I didn't actually see anybody complaining about that. But hey, guess what? You can't create a PlayStation Network account in Russia. They're currently sanctioned to hell for their continued unethical and unreasonable invasion of Ukraine, which is something that people are not talking about a lot right now, but is still ongoing. But also, just like I looked at the map, I think like no country in Africa at all is valid. There are several countries in like the Baltics that PlayStation Network does not officially go through, and so it is against Sony terms of service to lie. I had personally heard reports that it was pretty easy to do that and to dodge the ban, but apparently Sony has decided to overcorrect the other way. Before this came up, I was going to say, I think the best thing Sony could do about this right now is be magnanimous and just decide to waive things. They've decided to go the other way for the time being. Maybe? Don't actually know. This is another thing that's unclear. It's unclear if Sony has called for this requirement or if, in response to a lot of calls for refunds, Steam is doing the same thing. In all those countries where you can't use the PlayStation Network, it is being delisted on Steam, and even if you already bought it, if you're located in those regions, you are being blocked from booting up the game on Steam.
It's very, very chaotic. I don't understand any of it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's most... I'm most, like, working my brain over is, I'm just puzzled by this, right? It's confusing.
Because here's the thing. Like, we've already passed the major purchasing power of Helldivers. Most people who have bought it have bought it. People now who want are probably going to wait for sales. So the mass amount of profits has already been gained by this game. And like I said, I have put like goddamn so many hours into it right now. Another one. So guess what? There's no me getting a refund for that. So like this.
And I have heard questions like some people are claiming Steam is offering refunds. They may only be offering refunds in the regions where it is now blocked, because the Steam refund policy is usually you played it for less than 2 hours, or something happened with the game that is like changing what its function is or how it's advertised, etc.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, if you're literally unable to play the game, yes, you should be able to get a refund, especially if it's through no fault of your own.
But it is not like a universal thing. Several people in countries that are not directly affected by this, like you can sign up for PSN, are like changing my review to negative and refunding. Helldivers Media is not a reliable source. That's just people on the subreddit. Like I said, I think it is a conditional thing, because I've also seen people reporting they're having trouble getting their refunds.
Yeah. Like I said, people like, I know this is a very bad look, but I want to caution people to be not so reactionary and just pull up the first article they see. Like I said,
it is a dynamic situation. It's still ongoing. We don't know what's up.
It's still ongoing. Like I said, Sony pretty much the bad guy in this situation. I don't know what their fucking motives are. Like I said, it can't be money, because there is no money involved. So I'm like, my best guess, it has to be user numbers.
But that seems like, like I said, that's my personal closest theory. Several people on our Discord have also said that they think it's like, bored middle managers trying to come up with, what can we do to look good at the next quarterly report kind of a thing,
yeah.
Which admittedly this does sound like, but like, is that worth the amount of like bad PR and lost user numbers? Yes, you will have more PSN accounts, but you will also have to say, hey, there are literally less people playing our, PlayStation Studios published game, Helldivers 2, because they can't. I don't get it. Like, people say it's corporate greed, and I'm like, I don't see the greed, because I don't think this will turn into more money for Sony. This will cost them money, either through refund payouts, however that works, or just like, well, all those people in countries that are now blocked are not going to possibly spend money on super credits. I don't think it doesn't bump the PlayStation install numbers, because PlayStation Network accounts are separate.
Yeah, you don't need a place. You do not need a PlayStation for a PlayStation Net. You can go sign up online. Yeah,
it is not actually that problematic in most places. And I have heard some people bring up the government ID thing. I don't buy that theory, because I don't understand where the link is, because they're not. They say anyway, you don't actually need to keep logging into your PSN account. You just have to have a valid PSN sign-in and connect it to Helldivers. And if they're like back-ending you, then well, guess what? Then Steam is also stealing all your data, and so is Arrowhead, etc. It doesn't, I don't actually think that works. They will collect, obviously, your sign-in data of like your email and stuff, but I don't even know how complex that is. I don't even know if you need like a valid credit card to get a PSN account.
Oh, you do not.
Yeah, like, it's weird. To finish my first thought, people have also noted that like you need photo ID in some places. That is not PlayStation's fault. That is not Sony's fault. That is the fault of your local legislature. This photo ID thing is going around all over the place. If you are at all paying attention to your local government, which you should absolutely be calling whoever the fuck counts to stop that shit. Because like everywhere is trying to do these photo ID and verification ads. If we do not start like telling politicians we don't want to fucking send our driver's license or our passport photo to look at porn or sign up to gaming websites, literally everybody will be using a VPN in the next 5 years, and that's not even actually that protected. Most of those services that VPNs advertise that they do, they don't always fully do. You do not necessarily get to watch region-locked content, etc. So, like, that's actually a thing that we should be concerned about. That's not Sony's fault. Among many things which are their fault, that's not their bad. That's you should have voted different, I guess, in your latest local election. God knows why the UK wants you to have photo ID for internet signups. I don't know. They probably want to know it so that if you send a mean or racist message on PlayStation Network, which I don't think you're allowed to do anyway on their terms of service, they can fucking catch you in real life or something. I don't know. The UK's weird. But yeah, like we said, the plan is confusing because it does not seem to have any immediate upside, and I do not know what the future upside would be that is... Wow, Robin with the killer levity. I do not know what the future upside would be that does not outweigh the immediate downside. And I'll admit, like, if you are going to be upset at somebody, it is Sony's bad. On the one hand, I've seen some people, like, you know, clowning on Sony very heavily. Like I said, people who are all like, "Oh, I'm playing on PC. I don't want to play. I'm not playing on a PlayStation." I'm like, well, it says PlayStation Studios on the game, bud, and you knew that when you bought it. So, like, that's if you didn't want to be associated with Sony, you shouldn't have purchased this game that they, you know, publish and fund. It's like, you know, me being upset, you know, if I have to create an Xbox account to play Halo. Yeah, Microsoft owns that, even if I'm playing it on a PC. Admittedly, it's run through, you know, a Microsoft operating system, but I also think people don't always think about that. But Arrowhead in general seems to be also kind of at a loss in this situation.
Yeah. I do think that this was, like, from what I'm getting down, I do think that this was always the original intent. But because this was not at launch, people are getting bamboozled by it now. Plus the fact that it is locking people out of it, it is like literally the worst possible thing anyone could have done.
Also, you know, talking about what was originally planned, it does not appear like when they initially wanted to require it absolutely to be a forced link, that Sony necessarily worked out exactly what that was going to look like with Arrowhead. Like, no, even when the announcement first came out, Arrowhead was like, hey, this is an immediate thing. We're still chasing down with Sony, like, what this is going to look like. And so now we're at the state where, like, it's actually being blocked in countries. And again, I don't know if that's, like, you know, Steam being quote-unquote smart and, like, preemptively blocking. I don't know if that's Sony aiming for a D-list. Arrowhead is absolutely, like, according to their community managers, while they are not necessarily, like, in the best mood because Arrowhead is taking a lot of unnecessary flack for this. I think the way they phrased it best in a quote I seen from their Discord, their community manager said, "Guys, Sony doesn't look at our Discord." Yelling at Arrowhead on their Discord for Helldivers, or making a mean tweet, or going on the Helldivers subreddit, that is not going to reach the Sony C-suite.
Yeah, no. I will say, though, some of the community managers been a little spicy.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're getting harangued for this. The thing I know, for instance, has to do with that one content guy, Pirate Software. He's very upset about this. The community manager did apparently clap back at him specifically because he was repeatedly messaging them about getting it fixed, that he was going to refund his changed review, and at one point the community manager straight up said, "I thought you had refunded and changed your review to negative." And that's when he actually did all that and, like, you know, removed Helldivers emotes from his Twitch. And on the one hand, no, that's not a good look for a community manager, but also, like, these people have shit to do.
Like, but again, I keep telling them this, you can't just keep giving people shit and expect nothing to happen.
Yeah, no, you can't, like, keep needling. Like, the community manager challenged you to nut up or shut up. The guy nutted up, that's fine. You know, go for it. Too often, people shut up instead of nut up. They just ride it out and, you know, the stuff happens. So, like, it's there, but also, like, don't be bothered. Especially now that as we get into more of this, absolutely, this is not what Arrowhead wants. They would love for more people to play their game now that their servers are in order. I don't know. Some people have also been like trying to build this into a general narrative that, like, the game is somehow mismanaged. I've seen several people being like, and the dot bug still isn't finished and it's been known about for like a month. Okay, then stop playing if you don't want to worry about the dot bug, or just play around it like we do. Like, it, again, like I said, the argument gets tiring. There's a lot of extra crap that gets heaped onto it. I think that the region thing sucks. I think that Sony is not executing this argument very well. If they are smart, they will, you know, figure out some way to, like, work around this or re-enable. I personally do not think they will, because I'm sure that Sony is like, well, we have more money than these people and we don't care. But probably the smartest thing to do... Sorry, the Sony Nano machines are attacking me. It's the Lolly Lule Low. They should take the L.
Sony juice.
They should take the L. They should straight up be like, our bad, forget about it. The other way to do, I think, is to be magnanimous, and I don't know, like, if there are legal requirements to this, but would be to either, like, only semi-enforce the PSN sign-up or roll it out gradually and also pair it with opening PSN sign-ups to more regions. I think especially if Sony does want to get into more PC games and like selling games on Steam, they probably should make their games more accessible to a broader audience. That's the point of a PC release anyway, you know?
Dar.
Obviously, I know that PC gaming is very big in Japan, it's very big in America, but also people play them in other regions, so if you don't want those regions to just start fucking stealing your games, you know, pirating them, you should make them available and accept that that's part of the PC gamosphere, you know?
Did I post a thumbnail?
No, you did not actually link us the thumbnail.
Hang on.
It's okay, we're still recording, so it's not a thing. But no, that did not actually fire off to us yet. It's not in the upload. Yeah. But yeah, no. So
it's
yeah,
finished,
like I said, the Sonus is, you know, they're not doing a good look. It is kind of a problematic time. I will say that, like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, combined with the Stellar Blade controversy, it actually sounds like honestly, the vibes have not hurt Stellar Blade overall as a product.
As a product, no, but there was and probably still is an unfortunate amount of discourse surrounding this, but I think it's gone beyond Stellar Blade, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's gone back to the general culture war bullshit, and Stellar Blade itself and Shift Up should be fine. This is affecting, you know, the Steam review scores. They've gone from you know, their previous state to being mostly negative recently, and so on. You know, and obviously the games being you know, inaccessible in other regions. You know, like, people, if you want to ask me, like, oh, are you gonna, like, uninstall the game? I mean, I'm on PlayStation, so fuck me for refunds, absolutely. I know what I'm getting into. But also, like, no, because, like, obviously, I think the big community is part of the vibe. You know, it's really, really cool to see, you know, when you go to a planet and see that there's, you know, 100,000 Helldivers there. I do a little matchmaking with, you know, randos. I have heard some people saying, like, this will kill the game. This will prevent the developers from doing the story they want to do. No, it won't. The game was operating at arguably overcapacity already, as evidenced by what was a very funny positive story a couple weeks ago, where they, like, kill 6 billion Terminids, and they gave us like 5 days. It was done in 12 hours.
Yeah.
The game is arguably overstocked. I don't actually think this will quote unquote kill the game. And like I said, the story is still ongoing. We will actually see, like, what Sony does about this long term, you know? God knows if they want to be embarrassed about it, Sony could just, you know, wait a couple weeks for the heat to die down and then quietly re-enable it. People who have actively refunded are probably, like, dunzo. But, you know, you'll be able to go back to XS, and you can even, if you wanted to like I said, be contrite, be magnanimous, you could even mark it as, you know, it going back to being available. I don't think this is actually going to necessarily kill the game. You know, and previously, I have been interested in seeing, like, what the new Warbond is going to be, actually, because it looks like it's got a few interesting weird techs in there. I also saw that some people, like, talking about, like, oh, Sony is mandating the Warbond pace. You know, they're doing battle passes at an excess that people can't farm. And I had to stop myself from getting in a Reddit fight because I wanted to be like, regardless of your other arguments, you're wrong. I play Helldivers probably like twice a week for 2 or 3 hours, sometimes longer when there's like some really interesting event stuff happening and we get stuck in. But I play at what I think is a pretty normal rate for a player of the game. I have not missed a Warbond yet. Admittedly, some of that is the solo farm time I take, you know, but it's still eminently reasonable that if you wanted to focus on getting the Warbonds as a player who is not playing, that very easily fits into your normal playtime. But like I said, I grow tired of a lot of these vibes, and I'm just like, I don't want to start a fight about this, you know? So like I said, it continues to me something that I think you've brought up before, Lucky, that like people just get so quick to go spicy, so reactionary, so overwrought that I'm just like separating out the parts of the argument that are reasonable, good, that I agree with, from people over-exaggerating, over-explaining, and in some cases, just making shit up, you know? Like I said, I literally am like, I don't know if the refund thing is, like, universal or only in certain areas or what, because, like, the story is ongoing and I get conflicting reports, you know? I don't know what's true. And it's just like, do I want to wade into this? No, man. I can go play Unicorn Overlord. I can go write down 5 more martial paths for Rain. Do you have anything else to add about Hell Divers?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I think I've said my piece.
Yeah. Like I said, people will be asking about it a little bit. We've said our piece. We're about 2.5 hours of the recording. About 2:40 actually, closer to. We can probably wind down there. I will say, and a decent number of you tuned into it now that it has audio. But you know, the Rain Session 0 went back up. We're still on the clock for that. Obviously, we are working on wrapping up our current Singularity War entanglements. I almost said the sprawl. That's another thing that's been ongoing. The audio confusion. Despite audio issues, I'm pretty sure I know what's going wrong with posting Singularity War audios. I am the first to admit our AP posting schedule is not very rigid. Very often, the posting occurs when either I think to remind Lucky, throw up this AP, or Lucky independently reminds himself to throw up the AP, and it just kind of goes into the hopper on whatever day I have a free slot, you know? I try not to double up our video releases anymore because I am led to believe YouTube does not necessarily like that, and certainly I don't think the audience likes seeing a 3 to 4 hour stream and a 4 hour actual play on the same day. They're busy people. Got other content to check out. But when I throw up the audio version for patrons, spread us, $1 up to get the audio download, I'm just kind of posting those like whenever I'm making the video public. What I'm pretty sure is happening that sometimes in my fugue state, my brain is not reading correctly, and I'm clicking on the lowest down list in the sprawl, because I am assuming that's the lowest down on the list for Singularity War, and I'm just wrong. And it takes a while for somebody to actually, be paying attention and let me know that this is an error, and it's really easy to fix, so I've been fixing that when that's come up, and hopefully it won't happen again, but we'll see, Obviously I'm more aware that I'm picking the right audio now, but, we'll see what's up. With Rain, I don't know why that was busted, because that audio posted correctly. That was just maybe my old PC tower couldn't handle rendering a video with 5 hours of audio. Rebuilding it, I used different software in the new PC to make sure it worked. So, yeah, it was fine. I'll probably do the same thing with the Let's Talk FGOs. I'll edit the audio in my usual Audacity software, but then I'll run it through my newer video process, since it should just be like one bed image. I don't have to get too fiddly with it. But yeah, so Rain is available, and a decent number of you have been tuning into it. I am right that people do usually like Session Zeros because they're kind of disconnected from like an ongoing narrative, so there are a lot of setup and a lot of back and forth discussion. Whereas, following again, 3 to 4 hours of AP audio every week can, suck up some time. I understand. But while we're still working on Singularity War, and obviously after that, Aaron is getting ready to run Return to Benison Island, which we're very excited to be bitten by more dinosaurs. Hopefully I can find an anti-tank rocket this time and fire it at a T-Rex. But we are pretty gung-ho at setting up for Rain. I've actually been working on my prologue, actually writing my session notes, getting through some fun stuff. I didn't actually try to bite the dinosaurs that bit me in the original incident on Benison Island.
Dallas did punch a dinosaur, though.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I tried to cut dinosaurs a couple times with my big knife, but it didn't work good. They were too big, a dinosaur. Shooting them with my machine gun worked pretty good, and you with your rifle. Pretty effective. Who knew? But, yeah, I've actually been developing the prologue for Rain and actually setting aside stuff. I had to, start a dramatis personae to just write down and record character names, because if you don't know, the Rain campaign, Noblesse Oblige, is going to be a Noble Houses game. The setting is not exactly the same, but think a story like Game of Thrones. Obviously, I've also mentioned I was very inspired by a lot of the plot stylings and developments of Final Fantasy 16 is when I originally got into this idea. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to involve lots of characters. I've done extensive work on, collecting, our major 9 houses, and then, various families assembled, which means that, because this prologue is supposed to be I've said it before to these guys, and I think I may have said it on air, but it's supposed to be a festival where, young nobles can all get together and, make new friends and alliances, show how cool they are in various, contests and tournaments and stuff, and just generally celebrate the vibes. And then, of course, because it is a prologue with a time skip, there will be some sort of inciting incident.
Ooh.
which has definitely not been super telegraphed. But yeah, so
long, Big Dad.
Generally, you guys been R.I.P. Big Dad. You just know. By the way, I'm gonna go to the nines. You're gonna love this guy, and I'm gonna kill him.
No,
he's gonna your large father's gonna be great. I mean, I guess if I made him you guys probably could have written him that way, but I could have made him a really shit dad, and then you could be like, well, we have to find out who killed him because I gotta get them because they killed my shitty dad first, but that's not the direction the crew went.
I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. You said large dad. The large executive is gaslighting me.
Big father. No. I love those pair of videos of the Rubik's Rappers, the fucking Diamond Dogs one they did. There's a really one and a newer one, but yeah.
No, we are like super excited. I think Aaron is the most excited. Honestly.
Yeah, Aaron's been vibing back.
Loth is the least excited, I think.
We've talked about this before. Loth doesn't get. I mean, he likes to game. Obviously, he has his in-person game where he sometimes goes to. I don't think that Loth gets excited about characters quite the same way that like others in the crew do.
No, I think I've talked about this before. Loth likes playing with his friends. He doesn't necessarily care what we're playing.
And I think that he does actually have some. I mean, I know for sure he has a rough outline of what he wants his character Logesh to be like. I think he's got a good idea of what he wants to be good at. Then there's some fuzzy area of well, when I'm good at the stuff I want to be good at, what do I do with the rest of my points, kind of a thing. And kind of fitting into the general relationships, finding his role in the squad. I do know that Loth doesn't like to step on other players' toes. I distinctly remember post Session 0 and even a little bit in Session 0 that he and Aaron talked a little bit about not necessarily overlapping their character archetypes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but he's not he doesn't vibe about it the same way we do. He does not necessarily spontaneously join into our rain discussions.
No.
Even though there's a lot, I think in general a lot of the other crew are pre-planners. Aaron is not really forceful about it, but he has thoughts and feelings and usually likes to just get a solider grasp on stuff and just he has a lot of time to kill at work to think about things. So he vibes and gets back to us. You are obviously I think I've phrased this before. You do not play in a tabletop game that you are not excited to be in. If you are not happy to be here, you're just not going to be in the group. So you are a strong viber on okay. I got my character idea. I want to nettle it down. I want to figure out stuff and trying to get a feel for other characters and are not afraid to interrogate the other players about it.
I am not, no. I think it was just the other day I asked to see character sheets so I can, gather their personality from their character sheets.
Yeah, cross-compare. And Axe is also usually concerned with character stuff ahead of time and solidifying stuff. He feels more like I think the analogy I want to use is a ducks in a row type of player. He likes to know where he's at, know where everybody's at, and see where the mechanics are locked in, and kind of sort all that stuff out because one I think I've talked about before. He is a player who's a little anxious about failure, but also just in general he kind of likes to know what everybody's lane is, where we all are, and what he should be doing with his time, whether that's what would be more productive for him as a player or obviously in the group context. And I think you definitely, I don't know if put the fear of God is necessarily the right word, but you definitely stimulated something in the conversation a while back when talking about esoteric paths where you reminded him, hey, you're in charge of the family and the company. You should probably have stuff that is directly beneficial to the company. And that really got him to wrap his mind around the company rules and be much more interested in you're right, that is the thing I should do.
Yeah. Well, no, like I said, I try to mean no harm to Axe, but he's, like I said, he really doesn't like failure, so he likes to build his characters. He likes to build his characters around, doing the things he wants really well, but also generally not failing at basically anything. Axe likes to feel useful.
Yes.
No matter the circumstances. Like I said, I think it gives him anxiety if he feels like he's doing nothing to contribute.
Yes, Axe does not want to be a burden, which I understand, but also sometimes you got to be don't worry about it. We're all here to have fun.
So he will usually put all his focus into making sure character functions, but not necessarily, will function at mechanics, but maybe not necessarily function in story. And I think Axe does have a good balance of maybe like he wasn't expecting to be the heir, so maybe he's not the best at it. And that's why, he got his bros and his cousins to help him out. I think that works well, but I still think it's one of those things that Axe needs to be actually aware that he has to run a company.
Yeah, no, it's a time to remind that, like, and some of that will be, I'm leaving the open-ended in the time skip of, like, I'm going to give you extra points and also give you, not carte blanche, but, like, the ability to readjust your characters where you may feel like in the prologue, where I'm, at the very least, there's going to be several days of contests and stuff to actually let you, like, use some of your skills. I can, pre-warn you now, hey, guess what? Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. There's not going to be any calls for expert or student of skills in, the festival and contests and tournaments.
What?
Because
no
that would be way
shows?
too specific. That would be, I would be basically like calling you out for not putting your points in something that you had no knowledge of ahead of time. Way too specific. There'll probably be some opportunities to like sell, coordination perform versus charm perform or command perform, without necessarily specifying what field. Definitely some call for like general skills, like maybe you can expect, lore or knowledge to come up at some point, or lore or language. I can say that your characters would know for a fact ahead of time, because there almost always are. There's going to be some form of joust, some form of fencing competition, some form of marksmanship competition. So one of those things, I'm fairly certain, all out of the player characters anyway, you have written off. I don't think anybody has ride. I'm reasonably certain nobody has coordination plus lance, even if they have ride.
I think Aaron's character has pole arms. I don't know if that counts.
No, lance is actually a separate zone for weapon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I think you guys will just have to trust in your various retainers and friends, who you will meet several of, as evidenced by my long Dramatis Personae list, to maybe have your back in that. And if you guys from House Logi don't look good in the joust, whatever. You guys have never claimed to be good at horses.
It's true. Listen. Our island's a lot of y'all.
Yeah, rocks, hills, hilly rocks, trees.
Listen, let's bring the fucking goat throwing competition down. Let's see how these fucking mainlanders like it.
Yeah. The marksmanship you guys will probably be good at, because I'm explicitly leaving it open-ended as marksmanship. It is no longer just a bow competition. It's, they have a variety of target shooting you can do. Also, I learned that while I was doing some research on hobbies and stuff, Elizabethan and Renaissance era England, apparently knife throwing was a common pastime.
Wow, really?
Yeah, no, I guess because you can't set up an archery range in urban, so they would fucking throw knives. I'm trying to remember the exact name for it, but there was one like where like you set a coin on the ground and you try and like bounce a knife off it. Man,
that's like those fucking bottle cap challenges we have nowadays.
Yeah, no, like also straight up they would have had soccer and badminton. Like, those were invented by the Renaissance era. So, if you want to get into a rugby scrum, that's straight up possible.
I do not want to get in a rugby scrum, excuse me. I embody one.
Yeah, no, I figured. But yeah, so, like, and if you guys don't have skills for every, contest in the challenge, that's fine. You guys can use those opportunities to go schmooze with NPCs you like, or don't like. I'm sure you'll find that one character that you think of, like, it's a shame Lost not listening live right now. I don't know if he'll get to this point in the episode. But he would probably get, I know other people would get, the fucking character that Yuri Lowenthal plays in Assassin's Creed 2. I forget what his Italian name is. But just that guy who's a huge jerk face to Ezio in, like, the first cutscene. You'll find your version of that guy and just go, like, bug him. Throw rocks at him. I don't know.
Oh, I would. What is the skill to needle up?
Oh, probably to be like get on their nerves. Probably jest. Maybe fascinate.
I want to say fascinate just because I'll just deliver such witty retorts they cannot ignore.
Yeah, if you want to be cutting to the quick, yeah, it probably would be like fascinate or something.
Excellent. I'm gonna be an annoying twat.
Just be super irritating. But yeah, so like there'll be plenty of opportunity for that. And like I said, while I have been practically adjusting this, it's like I have to keep a big list of names because there's going to be a lot of names. There's quite a lot of noble houses are involved. Obviously, some of these people don't matter. There are going to be some people you meet who you're going to be like, whatever, don't care about that bozo. But I need to keep track of these things. So we're working on a practical process. I do want to get back to slamming out, more definitions for sorcery schools and some stuff like that, and obviously working on the rest of the various allied tribes for some backstory. I probably need to set aside some time when my shoulders and wrists are not super tense and bang out some lore for the Shattered Cauldron, because that is important to Axe's backstory. Obviously, I did get the Iron Demons done already, because I know that's very important to your character's backstory.
Yeah, I am very appreciative.
To work on that stuff. So that stuff probably needs to be tightened up, but like I said earlier, I've just been having a lot of fun working on esoteric disciplines and martial paths.
They are neat, but
yeah,
they are a little obtuse sometimes.
Sometimes they can be very specific. There's a lot of specific language involved. I know you asked questions about the wording of as X kind of a thing, which is fairly recurring. Is it in martial paths? There's a sidebar that talks about this, about spreading out versus stacking, I think is how they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Some esoteric disciplines and martial paths basically stack. Each new technique is like a previous technique, but better. More stuff happens. Others give you a lot of different techniques that do different things. And I've actually started noting down that in esoteric disciplines, I didn't catch this at first because it takes a while to get to them, but there are some paths that are only 3 pips long.
Yeah.
Designed to be a little more compact and easier to access. Though you still have to spend points at the 1, 3, and 5 level, but you get to skip the 2s and 4s.
Mm.
And like I said, just first of all, Greg Stolze, great author. His style of writing in this book, it's great. I love the little humor and stuff, and some of that stuff I just leave in or translate to similar jokes. But I've been getting a shocking amount of little backstory writing done, trying to come up with justifications for how some of these schools, work.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big one was what was called in the book, the School of the Insouciant Monkey. And I'm like, this is great. There are multiple Monkey King illusions in here. That's cool. And the mechanical effects of this school, this martial path, very good. I do not think that there are enough monkeys in our setting, which is a, island archipelago that is, broadly but vaguely European, with a few other, cultural extras in there. I don't know if you would, base the knowledge off monkey. So I was like, oh, what would it be? And I think you thought you suggested oh, it sounds kind of like an acrobat thing, and I'm like, okay, I can work with that. And so it became the School of the Jaunty Acrobat. Talking about very grandiose play fighting. And honestly, like I said, I started translating these, one for character creation stuff, or, because you guys are asking questions about them, but also just to have, small bits of work to do when I'm, only got a little bit of timer to catch up, but I'm really enjoying it. I have several ideas for, probably at least 3 or 4, completely original martial paths in my brain to work out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've mentioned it before. I'm pretty sure I want there to, because I don't think there is one, but I want something to be, quarterstaff focused. I also want to come out with a bow-focused one, because technically I took the one that was focused on bows and turned that into guns.
Yes.
Because it fit the fluff a lot better. And then I have, a couple of other, loose ideas that I'm not 100% sold on, but I might work out. I've been debating, a separate, House Modern focused, cutlass or saber-based one, where you might, have the ability to, use your sword to come down sails and riggings, kind of a thing. Very swashbuckly. Again, not sure if that's not a complete idea in my mind. I've been thinking about I say sword and board, but could be any one-handed weapon and shield tactic to work about blocking, but in a different way than the existing self-block focused school. A little bit of blocking for other people kind of a stuff. Maybe even have a shield bash in there. Just some loose ideas. But definitely, for sure, a longbow and something about quarterstaff, definitely. I have already added a completely unique school called the Dragon's Dance, which is focused on coordination plus spear. Can you guess what it does?
Does it do jumps?
Yes. The 3 pip, the rank 3 is Dragoon's Dive.
I gotta go read this.
Because I did actually find some very interesting, I double-checked how falling works. It's, every 5 feet you fall, you take 1 die of area damage, and it caps out at 30 dice. If you can catch yourself or do a prepare to drop, you can reduce that damage by 2 dice, which means that if you have preparation, you can, drop 10 feet without caring about it. So I was able to, like, work in some funny interaction with, like, ignoring jump height. The fluff is that dragon cavalry used to be a thing, but dragons are allegedly extinct. So the people who used to ride a dragon back basically applied their principles of, diving on enemies from above with spears to just being on foot. So they do big jumps. The level 5 is called Whirlwind Thrust, and it basically turns you into an AoE attack. Because the idea is that you're jumping, diving, and flipping in such a big way that you are, like, striking a zone. So yeah, that one was fun to cut my teeth on. It's an idea that I've been persistent in. Yes. Stidian! Hit the pose. Yeah, the 14... not 14. Though, yes, 14 DLC, it's called an X Pack, is on my mind right now. No, the 16 DLC, both halves are on my regard. People are speaking very highly of Rising Tide. I believe the first DLC was also pretty well received, so that's on my ever-growing backlog to chip into. But yeah, no, again, because like I said, I was partially inspired to do this setting and then push forward this game by 16, so like 16 having Dragoons that also do some of this stuff was very apropos. And because those guys aren't magical, I don't know how they get to jump so high. I guess crystals. Whenever you need to ask anything, crystals did it. Big jumping crystals. But yeah, no, been having fun. I haven't had any like concrete ideas for esoteric disciplines necessarily, but that's mostly because all the ones from the book are like really good.
Yeah, no, I have been looking at a few of them myself, and I'm one of those guys. I'm like this, but I also want this.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and we discussed this. You are limited to total of 15 abilities. So
yeah,
that's usually 3 full trees. But all of those are pretty good, yeah. So it's listen, like I said, we're vibing. We got stuff going on. We're shaking out stuff. Don't know exactly when that all will be. And while it will not be as long of a gap, there will probably be, do the prologue sessions, work through my prologue material, take a break while I take the reactions to the prologue material and shape that into some, early sessions and stuff. Because Rain is a game that, you do in like, seasons, periods, etc.
Yeah. So
taking breaks occasionally to like plot out the next couple of seasons is probably not going to be out of the question. So yeah, that's something we're working on. All right. Well, we crossed 3 hours of recording, and I'm out of water.
Probably a good time to stop then.
Do you want to try and scooch this one out there so we can get it up and at him before too long? Anything else on your mind, Lucky, to bring up?
Nope. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, then we'll skedoodle. And say, hey, if you're watching this video, you watched us this far, give us a like, leave your comments, drop it in the comment section. You can also join our Discord. You can sub, you should, in fact, subscribe to get this video and all of our latest videos. You can also ring the bell for notifications so I know we're posting new videos. And you can support our channel membership badges and emotes. And like I said earlier, support us on Patreon. Get access to the episode early in audio format for as little as $1 a month. Higher levels, you can vote in topic polls, like Fanservant Friday, get video releases early, etc., etc. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you next week for the Traum pregame. Get ready for that shit. So, good night, everybody.
Good night.